Sarah, welcome to Potty Power Hour. We're going to have some fun today. We are, just so you guys know, we are actually going to be disabling the chat because I get super distracted and we don't need Michelle going there. So we're going to disable chat, but I want to coach as many of you as possible. I've been really looking at the slides. I'm going to really go through everything fast. I want to be tight because I want to coach as many of you as possible. So if you have questions in regards to potty training, I want you to raise your hand if you're willing to be coached live. So that means I'm going to bring you up. You're going to be in a place that you have good Wi-Fi, good audio, good internet, and you're willing to show me your face. And basically, if you want to be coached, I want you to raise your hands. If you don't want to be coached and you're a shy guy or gal, no problem. There is the Q&A box. You want to put your questions in the Q&A box. I'm going to answer those as well. So, all right, so let's just hop right to it because we got lots to do tonight. My name is Michelle Rogers. I am an autism mom and life coach. I run a program called the Champions for Our Children Masterclass. It's a group coaching program for parents of children with autism. And in that program, I have a 100% success rate for potty training, meaning that anyone who comes and joins the masterclass, by the time you leave, you will have a potty trained child. Not only do we work on potty training, we work on communication, problem behaviors, picky eating, eloping, you name it, we cover it because I went through all of this stuff with my daughter and I've helped hundreds of parents just like you with this. So because potty training is the #1 problem that you all come to me with and that you need solving, and it is the easiest one for me to solve, that is what I wanted to bring to you tonight, which is if you're struggling with potty training, I've got you covered. So we are going to hop right in. I'm going to share my screen. We're going to do some slides. We're going to have some fun tonight. I want you to see that potty training not only is very easy once you conceptually understand how to teach it to a child with autism. And I don't even say it's even more difficult. I actually use this same process to teach my neurotypical son. But I also want you to see that we can actually make this fun, right? I could look at potty training and I could make it as the worst possible experience of parenting, which is, by the way I described it, it was the worst part of being a parent, right? And then I could also look at it like I'm teaching my baby this important life skill, like learning how to ride a bike or tie their shoes, right? I can make it this nightmare, or I can make it like going to Disney. And that's completely in my it's completely in my device to be able to do that. And it starts right here. So we're going to be talking a lot about that tonight. So, all right. So without further ado, let me share my screen. All right. Let me share my screen. We will get cracking for some potty power. All right. Can you see my screen? And just so you know, my assistant tonight, Jen, is here. Jen, can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right. Perfect. So we're going to get cracking right the potty power hour. So let's get cooking. Potty power hour. Okay. So you are in the right place. I'm just going to minus this out so you don't see it. You are in the right place if you have a child with autism or suspect autism and they need to potty train. You're in the right place if you have a child on the spectrum that's mild, moderate, or severe. They are verbal or pre-verbal. They have multiple diagnoses. You're in the right place. You need to potty train. Welcome. You've tried and failed many times. If this is you, I want you to put it in the Q&A. Let me know that you have been struggling with potty training. You are in the right place because I'm going to help you to potty train for the last time. And not only will potty training be possible, it's going to be easy and it's going to be fun. And the agenda for tonight, so you guys know what to expect. So we're going to talk about our story. If you may not know me, you may not know my daughter, Juliana. She was diagnosed at 2. She is 10 now. She is a happy, chatty, thriving little girl. Her first year, she's just about to complete her first year of a general education 4th grade class with minimal supports. She was diagnosed moderate to severe on the spectrum. She had language and lost it. So I have a video I want to share of our story. I'm going to talk to you about a philosophy I have called the Big 3. And these are the skills that I believe every child on the spectrum needs to have a chance at a life of independence. So no matter where they fall on the autism spectrum, if they can have the Big 3, their chances of having an independent life increase dramatically. And then we're going to talk about the most important thing tonight, which is the parent mindset. How much of that, what I think about autism and what I think about potty training is affecting me from being able to successfully get this done. And then we're going to talk about how you prepare for potty training. We're going to talk about the actual process to potty training. We are talking about a lot of P's today. We're going to talk about the poop, because pooping is just as important as learning how to pee. And we are going to talk about my masterclass. So if you love what you hear tonight and you want to get more of it, I'm going to share with you the masterclass and invite you guys to join us. And then we're going to have our giveaway. So everyone who stays till the start of Q&A, you're going to get the giveaway. You'll get an opportunity to have a free session with me, and everyone who signed up tonight will get access to the slides, because I'm going to be, I talk fast if you don't already notice that, but we actually will give you access to the slides, because I'm going to be moving through them so fast, because I want to actually coach as many of you live as possible. We're going to be giving you the slides, and I also will be giving you a copy of my toilet training collection sheet. This basically is a toilet training data sheet that allows you to keep track of accidents. I want you to keep track of when they're peeing in their diaper, when they're pooping, when they're peeing and pooping in the toilet, bowel movements, you name it. We're going to use that sheet to collect information. Data is king in our world. And then we're going to get to Q&A, which is my favorite part of doing these workshops. Okay, so yeah, so let's hop into it. Again, if you want to be coached tonight, you're going to hit the raise hand button. I believe that's down on the bottom. You're going to hit raise hand. If you want to be coached, this is what it's going to look like. You have good internet. You will have good audio. You'll be in a quiet place. You're not driving. You don't got a ton of shit going on in the background. And you're letting me see your beautiful face, because I'm sharing mine. All right, so let's get cracking. Let me share with you our story. I remember when I got pregnant with my daughter, I felt so grateful and so blessed. You know, my life up until that point had been pretty rocky. I'd had a lot of bumps and bruises along the way. And I finally thought that I was turning a corner and God was blessing me with this beautiful gift of a child. And I was just, yes, you know, finally something was going in my way. And then when she was born, she was just absolutely perfect. I had all of these dreams and expectations for her. I thought of all the things that I thought she was going to do. Yeah, good girl. Right after her first birthday, I started to notice her behavior change. She went from, you know, saying that. She was obsessed with Dora the Explorer, Mama, Dad, Dad. She was saying it all. Good girl, say Matt. Hit all of her milestones up until that point. She walked at 1. She was eating solid. She just, you know, she looked really good. And then I just remember her, it felt almost overnight or very quickly, where her demeanor just changed. She went from this super happy baby to crying and tantruming, just frustrated all the time. And I remember saying to my mom one day during one of these tantrums, like, you know, where did my happy baby go? But I didn't think anything past it. I think I was kind of not ready to fathom that something could be off, even though maybe the telltale signs were there. Cheerios. One Cheerios. Okay. Dressed. Honey, gotta get dressed. Gotta get dressed, honey. Come on, time to get dressed. She started to lose the words that she had gained. She wasn't saying mama anymore. She wasn't saying ma'am. She just seemed really disconnected from us. Instead of playing with her toys, she would take them, dump them all out of her toy box, and just start twisting them around her hands aimlessly with no intended purpose. Really kind of in denial about it. And then I remember one day we were in the middle of the store, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere, she just like started like screaming and yelling like somebody had slapped her. I don't even know what the problem was. And I was so mortified. I didn't even know what to do. I was so scared. I literally just left the half full cart in the store, picked her up, and just ran out of there. Never went to that store again. I just didn't even know what to think. And that was probably the first time it really kind of stung for me that maybe something is wrong. They diagnosed her. They didn't diagnose her right away. They said that, you know, she was too young for a diagnosis. I didn't even know what they meant when they said that. I was like, diagnosed with what? You know, I just had no idea what they were talking about. And then they said, you know,
we'll come back in if you're not seeing progress. And I said, okay, and a couple months later, I'm watching these speech therapists play with her on the floor. I'm not seeing any progress and felt like she was getting a little worse. And then we went for our 2-year-old wellness visit, and the doctor said that she was behind if she wasn't using 20 words with intent. And that was probably just the knife to my heart. At that point, I really couldn't deny that something was up with her anymore. So then I called the county back in, and then she was diagnosed on the spectrum. And I remember that day, and it was worst days of my life. It was my darkest hour. I could easily say that as a mother, as a woman, as just a human being, it was probably one of the hardest times I had ever gone through. And I remember just I went from being so happy with God, so thankful, to being so pissed at him for doing this to her and wrecking this beautiful gift he had given me. And for a while there, I struggled to figure out what this meant, or what we were going to do, or how this was going to define her. All those dreams I had for her future were just completely shattered. And I had no idea what was going to happen next. And I went from just hopeful to just complete blank when I thought about the future. One night I was thinking, I'm going to die one day, and who's going to care for her like her mother? And something about that thought just snapped me out of my depression and my anger and my fear, and said, listen, we got to get to work here. I promised that when she was born, I was going to be the best mother I could be to her. And that promise, it hasn't changed. In fact, it should mean more now than ever, not less. She needs me now more than ever. And I didn't know at the time what we were capable of, but what having those changes, that mindset shift for me was going to do. But I wanted to know that at the end of every night, I could look myself in the mirror with confidence and say, did you do everything you could, Michelle, to give her the best possible life? And if the answer was yes, then that was a good day. And I wanted the answer to be yes, 100%. And no matter where the cards fell, I know I could leave this earth saying I gave her everything I had, no regrets. And as I've navigated this world with her and walked away that day after having that thought, I really just grabbed the bull by the horns. I became her fiercest advocate. I'm not a special education master's degree teacher. I never had any formal training in ABA, but I knew that I was going to learn whatever I needed to learn to be really strong for her. And Juliana lost all of her language.
Cheerios? I want Cheerios. Okay.
She was nonverbal when she was diagnosed.
Show me what you want. Okay. Want something?
We taught her sign language.
Show me. Juliana, show me.
Then she went from sign language to word approximations. Then she started to speak.
Say, I did it.
She went from the most restrictive preschool environment. She was in a 614, most restrictive preschool, special education preschool environment you could be in.
Good morning, Miss. Good morning. Good morning, Miss. And how do you do?
To now where she is almost 8 years old. She's in second grade class in a gen ed school, integrated class with typical peers. She speaks beautifully now.
What did you like about the whole experience?
She has a personality. She has conversation skills. There's still things that we need to work on, but for the most part, her future went from black to now having possibilities. And none of that could have happened had I not kind of gotten out of my own way and really hit the ground running and started to take action for her. And I can't say that I can do that for every parent I coach, but what I can tell them is I will have them feeling like I did, looking at myself in the mirror, you looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, I was everything I could be for her today. I have no regrets. And whatever happens, it happens. It's really for us as parents to know we fulfilled the duty that we promised when we had these children, which was to be the best versions of ourselves, to live, to raise these children. I've helped now hundreds of mothers, coach them one-on-one to do the same things I did, to help them to be strong, to help them to craft plans where we're seeing constant progress. This is what I want to do. I want to give you the chance that Juliana's had. I want to give you every opportunity to give your child that happiness.
Dear Juliana, today you are free. A day full of happiness. Day with strength. Many good memories to begin. And great trials. I hope you will never end. Happy birthday, love, Jane.
All right. All right. So I'm going to play that again. Excuse me. All right, here we go. All right. We're going to get into next. We're going to talk about specifically what I call the big three in my program. And this is what I believe the three skills that every child on the autism spectrum needs for a chance at a life of independence. It's really our starting point, the foundation, and then we start building out from there. And for us, for Juliana, a lot of you guys start with potty training. When you join my program, a lot of the families that come in there start with potty training. For us, the journey started with the first one on this list, which is communication. And I'm not necessarily speaking about the verbal word, but that's always the agenda I have in my mind, is to not only get your child communicating, but also becoming verbal. The second skill that every child needs is to have no problem behaviors or problem behaviors close to zero. They're able to sit and attend and learn at school, right? And then the third one is what you all came here tonight for, which is potty training. And before we get into the tactical steps of potty training, I really have to we have to take a step back and start looking at some of the thoughts that we're having about potty training. I don't want to pull up the Q&A because I feel like it's going to come up on the screen, but Jen has been showing me what you guys have been saying. And some of you have said things like you've tried everything, or you've tried and failed so many times. These are the thoughts that you guys are having as you're trying to potty train. And I want to propose to you tonight that maybe having these thoughts over and over and over again while you're trying to take the action of potty training is actually what's really hindering the process and keeping you all still in diapers. And I don't know if you recognize this, but this is a screenshot from a movie called The Matrix. It was out probably like 20 something years ago. And there was this child in the movie that was holding a spoon, and he was, it looked like he was bending the spoon with his mind. And he tells us in the movie to not try to bend the spoon, that's impossible. And instead only try to realize the truth that there is no spoon. Then you'll see that it's not the spoon that bends, it's only yourself. And what he's talking about is our thoughts. How do we show up in this world today? How am I showing up as a parent, a grandparent, a caretaker of this child with autism? What are the thoughts I'm constantly having every single day about my life and this journey? And is it taking me closer to getting the results of the big three, or is it keeping me stuck? And I can't control that autism is here, but I have full control over what I want to think about it. And that's one of the biggest takeaways I want you to take from this whole night tonight, is that, listen, your thoughts are very, very powerful. If you've ever heard of the mind-body connection, that is a studied, tried and true, proven thing, that if the mind is in the gutter, the body will be in the gutter. And then you know what? If the mind's in the gutter, the actions you take to potty train will also be in the gutter. And if I believe, what you need to do is, if I can believe I can change the thoughts I think about myself and my child with autism, I can change the outcome for my baby and our reality. So if I can start to think different thoughts, if I believe in the mind-body connection, garbage in, garbage out, right? And I can start believing different things about autism and different things about myself being capable to teach a child with autism, I can instantly start to change the reality that we're living now. And I'm going to go into the tactical. We're going to spend a lot of time tonight talking about the tactical. And I'm going to show you in the Q&A what you're doing and how we could be doing things a little bit differently. Or maybe you are doing things good, but your mind is not in alignment. We need that alignment, or there will be no progress. It's almost like putting a car and stepping on the gas in a car and also stepping at the brake at the same time. Where does the car go? It's like, all right, well, I'm doing all the things for potty training. I've tried a lot of stuff, but autism sucks and my life sucks and this is awful and why me, right? The car doesn't go anywhere. So I have to get you thinking different thoughts while you're taking the actions of potty training to give you the different results in the life you're living now. And one of the thoughts that I had for many years of my life is that I could be the exception to the rule. And this started when I was a child. When I was a child, I was very shy. I was bullied up until the age of middle school. And I remember having this thought for many years that, like, I wish somebody would just come in and save me, like a superhero or a special adult or a special child will just come in and just swoop me out of this and just say, this is wrong. You shouldn't be treating her like this. And I was just obsessed with this idea. I'd come home every night crying. I hated school. I hated these children that I went to school with. I felt like I was tortured every day. And I'm like, why isn't somebody just stopping this injustice? And then something happened to me in middle school. And I realized in this moment, I was dealing with this bully. It was another altercation. And I'm thinking in my head, like, no one is coming. It has to be me. I have to save myself if I want this shit to stop. And I remember kind of like going head on with this bully, and he, long story short, is like he ended up running out of the room crying, and he never fucked with me again. And there was something in that moment that ignited this animal in me that was like, yes, I could be the fucking hero of my own story. I could be the exception to the rule that I was so obsessed about. And I thought that since middle school, I was fascinated with exception to the rule my whole life, thought about like, I am that person in middle school, and thought that for many, many years. And then when autism, this was before I was married, before I had kids. And then I get married and I have kids, and then autism becomes a part of our world. And I have the same thoughts that you guys do. I'm thinking that she's going to need lifetime care. I think it's a debilitating disability. But even with that fear, at that point, I was so practiced at the idea of becoming like this hero of my own story and the exception to the rule, that I believed that I could create the exception to the rule. And if I could be the exception to the rule, by extension, my child could also be exception to the rule. And by the way, this is just a thought I think about myself every day. That's so practiced. I've thought about this since middle school, since I was able to create that result. And after that result, I created another result, and I've created another result and another result. I've done this all over my life. So when the time autism came, it definitely took the wind out of my sails. This isn't the life I thought I was going to be living with my child. I remember holding her in the hospital thinking, she's going to have prom one day. She's going to get married. She's going to be a president of the student body, because I remember that's something I wanted when I was a kid. And all of that went dark as soon as the autism diagnosis came. I thought just like you, but I knew I could never stay there because I was so practiced in the belief of like, come on, Michelle, you've created so many fucking amazing results, things people thought you could never do. Why can't you do this for autism too? And that's what really catapulted the progress for my daughter when I got out of my shit about this. And I had that crazy thought, I'm going to die one day. Who's going to care for her when I was gone? That was my brain saying, hey, bitch, get to work. You promised you were going to show up as a mother to her, the best mother you could be. Autism comes and you're out, you're peace out. You can't be like that. You have to be here for her. And I choose to believe this about myself every day. And being the exception, not the rule, it's the reason why Juliana is where she is today. And you know what's interesting? When I was going through this with Juliana, and I've gone through this whole thing in my life, I assumed that all parents thought this way. And I the first year of autism, we were kind of in our bubble because we were doing services at home. And then when we finally entered the special education preschool system, I realized that most parents don't think this way. It was horrifying for me. I remember organizing a night away for all the parents, right? Juliana was in the most restrictive autism class, the 614. And I remember telling the parents that let's go away for a night and go to a spa, and we'll get massages, whatever, right? And we're in the hot tub, and 3 of the parents were talking about already contacting their lawyer about giving their home away to the state. So when their kids are grown-ups, they'll have a place to stay, a home to live in when they die. Our babies weren't even kindergarten age. Why are you even putting that in the universe? And if that's what you're thinking at 3, the job's done before you've even begun. You've already signed a death warrant for your child. I don't want, like, I'm a planner. Believe you me, I'm a planner. I always think 5 steps ahead. But I have huge issue with somebody talking about giving away their home to the state when their child's only 3. And that was just a little bit of it. I've heard parents talking about starting businesses for dignified employment for children who will be adults with special needs one day. Like, I mean, just their mind is so focused on the negative and not focused on the potential. What if autism isn't less and it's just different? And I just need to learn different. And if I learn different, I can teach different anything. And that's how I always saw it with Juliana. And I can't give you the path to potty training if you've already given up on a limitless future for your baby. And you can't change anything for your child if you don't believe you can create change for yourself. That's one of the biggest things. We can't think I'm going to be able to get them potty trained and communicating, but I can't create good change for myself in my life. It doesn't work that way. One, I have to be the exception to the room so Juliana can be the exception to the rule. I want to choose to believe that about myself. And that's what's gotten her the results that she has. You can't change that autism is here, but you can decide how you want to show up for yourself and your child. And only when you do that can you change your reality and the reality for your baby. And this is the most important thing you take away tonight is the mindset training, that the number one reason stopping your child from potty training is your thoughts about it. Your thoughts are creating your current results with potty training. This is why you're living the life you're living now. And what are your thoughts around your child learning to potty train? Do you think that they're capable of potty training? Do you think you're capable of teaching them? Does autism mean diapers for life? Does autism mean cancer to you? Because it's not. I'm a truth teller and I tell it like it is. Time and time again, I have parents coming to me and they're the ones blocking their child's success on the toilet, and they end up making their lives harder on themselves. It's not intentional that we're doing this. We've been in the club for a while. We've thought shitty thoughts about the club for a while. I have to start thinking differently if I want different results. And it starts with what I believe about the diagnosis. What do I believe about my child? I never even, and this is the thing too, your thinking needs to be setting yourself and your child up for success when it comes to potty training. One of the things that, we put it in our marketing material only because it's a generally used word, is nonverbal autism. I never described my daughter as nonverbal. And I don't have an issue with the word nonverbal, but the reason why I never described her that way is because I never thought she was going to stay there. I always believed that she would speak one day. She had language and lost it. And something about that, without me even studying and knowing for a fact that if the way behavior works is that if you have a behavior and you lose it, AKA regression, you can definitely get it back. So I just believed, without even knowing, study, tried and true, that was a fact, that's proven in studies, that if you had language and lost it, you get it back. I just believed that. I'm like, she used to talk. She used to say words. If she could do that and she lost it, she could learn again. I just got to figure out how. I believe that. I never believed, I don't know why I'm getting upset here. I've never believed that she was never going to talk. And when I think of the word nonverbal, I think final. I feel like that can't be changed. I always tell my moms, we don't say nonverbal in this group. We say preverbal. Language is coming, always. Because I want to keep my mind fit. I want to keep my mind in a healthy place so I can show up for my baby. All thoughts that you think about yourself and about your child and about autism are optional. And you get to choose your thinking to get new emotions that drive different action and get the results that you want, including potty training. And I help parents like you to think intentionally to get these results you want for your child with autism. And this is Mary. She's one of my first clients. Her son was 7 when we first worked together. He was 100% in diapers. He was pre-verbal. And within 2 weeks of working together, we got him potty trained. And in the first month, he said mama for the first time. I would venture to even say that her son was severe on the spectrum. This is possible for you. I don't even say severe. I don't say autism level 1, 2, and 3. I could give a fuck. I don't want to say shit that's going to make me feel like shit. I want to say stuff that breeds possibility. And if you walk away with anything tonight, it's just like, listen, if you're talking shit about yourself, about autism, and about you, fucking stop. I want you to think about how that is affecting how you're showing up. How is that affecting how you're mothering, how you're parenting? How is it affecting that your child's still in diapers? Because I think shitty things all day. Okay. All right. So I hope that was helpful. I'm going to get to the Q&A. I only have one screen tonight. I'm away. So I'm going to get to the Q&A when I stop sharing my screen, but we're going to go right into the potty power preparation. But I hope if you walk away with anything tonight is the power of your thoughts. They could make or break your progress. I always say, this isn't my quote, but I absolutely love it. I say it every time. Your mind is like the furnace. It could either warm your house or burn it down. And you can choose what you want it to do. Okay, so now let's get into potty power preparation. This is my normal disclaimer. This information and all information in my workshops are not intended to serve as a substitute for a consultation with a medical or behavioral professional. Only qualified professionals who work with your child on an ongoing basis can adequately assess and supervise a child's program. I always recommend including a board certified behavior analyst. I absolutely love ABA. ABA is the catalyst for what happened with Juliana. It's a big part of my program. It's going to be a big part of the process that we talk about too. And I always recommend including a board certified behavior analyst on a child's client's team, especially important if a child is hurting themselves or others. So that's my disclaimer for tonight. I am not a doctor. I am a mother. All I am is a mother of a child with autism. I run a program for parents of children with autism because I had a lot of success. And hey, I do a lot of shit that works. And maybe you want to come over here and do a lot of shit that works with us. All right. So, but of course, run everything I say by a doctor if you're not comfortable. All right, here we go. Here's the potty power hour preparation. The first step to potty training is you want to make sure your child is ready. You want to make sure your child is showing some of these readiness signs, waking up dry, taking their diaper off, going long periods of time during the day with a dry diaper, being curious around the potty when you go, requesting potty, pointing to the potty if they're pre-verbal, regular bowel movements that are predictable-ish. We also want to make sure that they're not having constant diarrhea, constant loose stools. You want to make sure that the poop is peanut butter consistency or those rocks. I'll take either. We also want to make sure that they don't have painful constipation. It's typical for a child to have constipation when you're potty training. The constipation I'm concerned about is when it's impacted, when their belly's distended, they're in pain, they're behaviorally changing because it's medically like they're not feeling well. That we don't want to work with. We want to make sure that if we're dealing with that or we're dealing with loose stool or diarrhea, that we are fixing that first before we potty train. Obviously with diarrhea or loose stool, you know what it's like to have that. We have the reps that children don't, waiting like, oh boy, I feel it coming. I got to run to the bathroom. They don't have that. So it's not fair to potty train a child who doesn't have enough time to get to the bathroom. They want to make sure they can follow simple instructions. And this one's a big one. You want to make sure your child's not scared of the potty. A lot of you guys will say, how can I potty train? My kid won't stay anywhere for 5 seconds. This is the perfect opportunity to practice instructional control. So what does that mean? First, we've got to get them neutral to just sitting on the potty. Then once they're neutral to sitting, then we can actually get to the potty training. So how this would look is what I tell parents to say, okay, figure out what your baseline is for your child. Will they walk into the bathroom? I had a girl that when the mother would just bring out underwear, she would freak out. So, because she knew that once the underwear was out that they were going to go potty train, and the girl was like, she had a little phobia. It's the same thing that goes with the potty. If you bring out the potty and they go nuts, then that's your baseline. And we've got to get them neutral just for the potty to be in the room. So this is what I love about teaching children with autism is that the way you teach one thing is the way you teach everything. I want to get them neutral just to being comfortable in the potty's presence. Then if they sit, and let's say they sit for 5 seconds and then they pop up, then I want to say, okay, 5 seconds. I'm going to put 10 seconds on the clock and I'm going to think of a reward I can give them for sitting. Something that's going to be worth the ask. I always say it needs to be 10 times the ask. So if it's sitting, figure they sit on a bed, they sit on a chair. It's going to be real easy. It could be a cookie, a snack. It could be a pretzel. It could be bubbles, a piggyback ride, whatever the case may be. And you say, listen, when the timer goes off, I love a visual and audible timer. So whether it's an Alexa or whatever, when the timer goes off, you sit, and when the timer goes up, you can get up and I give you a snack. And every time you run this program with them, you increase the time 5 or 10 seconds. You want to get it up to about 3 to 5 minutes, enough for a pee or poop to pass. You want them to be neutral to sitting on the potty. That means that they're not crying, they're not complaining, you're not having to hold them down. We don't want any of that shit. We want this to be completely like chill, like, hey, you're sitting in a chair, happen to be sitting on a potty. Here's a good job. You want to keep praising that. Want to give it rewards. This is how you practice instructional control, especially with some of our high energy children. Okay. We can't run before we crawl. A lot of you guys want to jump right into potty training, but if your child won't sit, then you got to fix the sitting first. If the child won't walk into the bathroom, we got to get him just to walk into the bathroom. Then we got to get them comfortable sitting, and it may have to be pants on first and then pants off. And then once we get them up to 3 minutes, we can actually potty train them. And next thing we want to talk about with potty training is we want to come up with an amazing reward. So yeah, just like we talked now about giving a reward for sitting, we want to give a really amazing grand dame reward for eliminating. And the reward needs to be presented immediately. It needs to be tangible, accessible, visible, specific only to potty training, meaning we don't do it anywhere else. If it's going to be like these amazing gummy bears that they absolutely love, they go crazy for every time they see it, that means they only get it for eliminating on the toilet, and that means they stop getting it for snacks. Some idea includes snacks, candies, cookies, chips, bubbles, books, toys, things that they stim on. I had a boy that loved paintbrushes. Mom went out and got like dollar store paintbrushes, and every time he did pee on the potty, he got a new paintbrush, and he liked to rub it against his palm. This is what's possible for your baby, okay? Anything you could think of that is of high desire, that's what we want to use. One of the best tools to use is if a child loves their iPad or your phone, because if they love it, I always say, oh, you have a kid that's obsessed with the iPad or the phone, great, because they're going to potty train fast, because they love that thing so much, they're willing to do anything to have access to it. But that means to create desire, because we are only going to give them access to it for potty training, that means you can't let them have it at any other time. And that's how you increase desire. That's why if it was gummy bears and they were getting gummy bears every night before bed, then now we can't give them gummy bears, because I want to create desire. And if I look at the iPad and I say, well, what are they doing? Are they playing like certain games on it? What if I add new cool games to it? Now I've taken something that's like a 10 and made it like a 12. So whatever you pick for the reward for the actual elimination has to be huge. It's got to be a 10. And this is another thing I want to talk about with rewards is, let's say you start out and you thought it was cheese doodles. So like, okay, they love cheese doodles. And after a day or two, you realize you're not getting any success and they don't really give a shit. They like the cheese doodles. They cry when they see them, but they're really not eliminating for them. That's how you know you don't have a 10. You want to make sure you land this correctly. And sometimes it'll happen that the cheese doodles was a 10, you got some progress with it, and then it faded. That means that maybe they got bored with it. Then we want to pivot. We pivot like motherfuckers in here. And we say, okay, you know what? Cheese doodles work. Now I have to go to pretzels, or now I have to go to chips. Whatever the case may be, we're trying to always be on our game when it comes to rewards. It is the key to success when it comes to potty training. And I know I'm going to have some people, I guarantee it, I'm going to have people coach to them. I'm going to coach to say, oh, my kid, there's nothing he likes. That's a fucking thought error. Whenever somebody says that to me, I say, oh yeah. I said, so what? He gets up every morning and he just goes and sits in a chair and looks at the wall all day. It's a thought error if you think that. And another one will say, oh, there's just so many things my kid likes. I don't know what's a 10. The way you'll know is you have to start withholding some things and see what this is, withholding it and putting it visible, but no longer accessible, and see if the desire is high for it. But a lot of those thoughts that you're having are thought errors. And when I have a thought error, like, oh, there's nothing that motivates my child. Well, guess what? Then there's no solve for you. If you really want to invest your time in believing that thought, then you'll also be investing in diapers for a really long time. I need you to start to think differently if you want different results for your child when it comes to potty training. Big thing. That's why mindset's a big thing. Okay. So then we want to talk about ditching diapers for good. Hello, underwear. Listen, we are not dipping our toe in the potty pool. We are getting fucking committed tonight. If you're going to do this, and if you're here and you're serious about getting rid of diapers, and I told you your child can be level 3, I don't give a shit about that. Level 3, severely autistic, whatever the fuck you've been told or whatever in the past. We don't think that about our child anymore. But whatever it is that you think, as long as your child is ambulatory, they can potty train. If they can use an iPad, then they can learn how to flush a toilet. Okay. The idea here is if we're committing to potty training, we are also committing to underwear. We are no longer giving them the option. We're not dipping our pinky toe into the potty pool. We are full submersion, which means that diapers are no longer an option once we start this process. Diapers would only be okay for nap time and bedtime under condition they're swiftly removed when the child wakes up. This is where the mindset work comes in. It's a decision that needs to be made to go 100% all in, no more diapers or pull-ups. If we do a 3-day intensive, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, 2-day, 3-day intensive, and they go back to school on Monday, first off, a lot of you, school's almost out, so that ain't even going to be an excuse for you anymore. But if it happens that after 3 days, you don't have 80% or better progress, that would be the only reason that they'd be allowed to go to school in pull-ups. But as soon as they get home, it comes right off and they get right back into underwear. And what I do is let's say they go to bed at night and they have the pull-up on. As soon as they get up, they go right on the toilet. They wear underwear until like 20 minutes before we go, and then they can go into the pull-up. That way that we're getting them into the habit that underwear is where we're headed. Diapers is going to be a thing of the past. Okay. Accidents are going to be inevitable. This is not potty perfection. It's potty training. I need you to be patient. This is one of the things that I was so fucking stupid about. Every time she'd have an accident, I'd flip out and I'd throw the Clorox, the wipes against the wall, and I'd curse and I'd freak, like as if she was just going to know how to do this out of the gate. The only way a child, and this is another thing you guys say to me, oh, I just don't think it clicks for them. It doesn't click for any child. The only way it clicks is through doing our reps. That means we're constantly taking to the bathroom. That's how they're going to figure it out. When you're doing an intensive, which we're going to talk about in a minute, one of two things are going to happen. Either your child is going to have an accidental pee and poop on the toilet while they're sitting there, which you're going to be all over them. So you're going to give them lots of praise and instant reward, or you're going to start to see the pee going down their leg. And as soon as you start seeing it, you're going to take them and you're going to run them to the bathroom. And as long as some pee or poop lands in there, they get the reward. And that's how it clicks. That's how doing that over and over, that's how it's going to click for your baby. Okay. And fearful thinking is what hinders the process, and quitting thinking is what hinders the process. Now that we're on talking about processes, let's get right into it. So potty training in 3 steps for boys. If you have a boy and he has not potty trained or whatever the case may be, I teach them sitting because they have to sit to poop. So might as well teach them to pee sitting down. If you've already started teaching your boy to stand and you're one of the moms here that, hey, I have a boy, but he's not pooping on the toilet, it's probably because he's just not comfortable sitting on the toilet. We got to fix that first, and then we can get into potty training. Okay. The step 1 is we want to make sure we get lots of drinks and salty snacks. We want to run them around the house, run them around the yard, get them so they want to drink a lot. They can have anything they want to drink, juice, chocolate milk, anything they like, 8 to 10 cups a day, 2 to 4 ounces per hour. Step 2 is to schedule your potty sessions reinforcements. You're getting the toilet training data collection sheet while they're in diapers. While you're preparing for your potty process, I want you to see what their patterns are. You're going to start to notice, if you don't already, that they poop at certain times. They can hold their pee for 30 minutes or an hour, whatever the case may be, depending on where your child is or how old they are. You're gonna know this. So when it's time to go, you're going to choose your potty language. You're going to have your rewards ready, and you'll know when you want to take them. And if you have accidents, you're going to adjust your schedule accordingly. Remember, data is king in this world of potty training. Actually, data is king for everything with autism. You'll learn that very quickly if you don't already. So breaks between potty sessions should increase gradually. For example, if a child goes 45 minutes for 3 days and has no accidents, you can push it to an hour. Once they're prompting for the potty on their own, breaks can be even longer. And once they're prompting for potty on their own, the rewards are still going to apply when they're doing that. And the third part is this data collection. Again, data is king. You note all successful trips on your data collection sheet that you're going to be getting with these slides tonight. And you want to note all accidents, big and small. And I do what is called an intensive method. I push my families to do this too, because I love it. One of 2 things happen usually with the intensive. Well, maybe 3 things. One is we have a fully potty trained child. One is we have a 50% there, or third, we get lots of data. So I never see any of those 3 options as a fail. There's maybe 2 learns and 1 wins in there, but actually 3 learns plus a win, because I don't look at failure. I don't look at potty training and shit and piss on the floor as a problem. And that's one of the biggest things. I think we start to have to neutralize like the look of pee and poop on our floor as this huge issue. It's not. This is a part of the process. I've learned something every time that happens. And that's a choice. See, that's a thought, I believe, about potty training. That's why there is no species I can't potty train. Potty train my kid. I potty train my kids. Potty train your kids. Potty train thousands of children. I have a potty guide. I potty train my dog. I potty train my cats. There's literally nothing, if you're following the system, that really can't be potty trained. I don't know. Well, maybe they have to be able to sit on a toilet. All right. So 5 minutes on the potty, 10 minutes off is what I do for my intensive. So what I do with intensive is I take the baby and I say, okay, if I have other children, I say to get somebody else to take the other kids so I can focus on one child. If you have multiples that need potty training, you focus on the one child at a time policy. You make sure that you are potty training the child that you think it's going to land with first alone. Okay. You can let the other child watch from afar, but your focus is going to be on this child. child. And what you're going to do is you're going to put yourself in a room. You're going to make sure that the only place a child can go is that room attached to the bathroom and nowhere else. He or she is always going to be in your peripheral. So you can always kind of see what's going on. And what I like to do is I like to apply them with lots of drinks and salty snacks. And it's 5 minutes on the potty and 10 minutes off. I like this for children up to the age of 6 because they have to go more because their bladder is smaller. For the older kids, I reference my toilet training data sheet, and that's where I decide 5 minutes on, 20 minutes off, whatever the case may be. But 6 and under, 7 and under, 5 minutes on, 10 minutes off in a confined area with TV, the toys, the treasure chest of reward, whatever that is. And the child is in underwear and shirt and nothing else. Or you could do naked from the waist down. I did it both ways. Lots of salty snacks, lots of fluids. You're going to set your timer every time they sit, whether pee or not. For sitting on the potty, they can get a little sticker or stamp just for being a good sport. And the idea is I don't make them sit for 20 minutes, even though I know they're holding it. I want to try and catch it. And I don't want them to get pissed, right? Because I want them just to be able to be comfortable to sit for 5 minutes. If I know they have to go and I'm sitting them longer, I don't want to deter the whole process just to get that win. I will get that win one way or another, in the sense of like, there is no fail with this, right? So if I'm taking them and I know they've got to go and I put them up, and as soon as they start to pee, or as soon as I walk out of the room, they start to pee, I run them back to the bathroom and put them back on the toilet. And if some of the pee goes there, that's a win. And then we say yes, and we immediately give them the reward. Okay. So we want to make sure we're not trying to sit them longer than 5 minutes. I mean, if you think like you're right there and you feel like a little trickle, then you can let them stay. But for the idea here is not to like make the child hate this process. We want them to think this is fun. Like, oh, look, mommy's spending time with me. We're going in and out. The timer's going off. There's snacks waiting for me. It's going to be great. And when they actually go, we go crazy with praise and we give them their high value reward. And as they do this successfully, it's 5 minutes on the potty, 10 minutes off, and we spread that out as they improve. You're going to be taking data along this whole process. Even before their potty training, you're going to use that data collection sheet, then you're going to print it again and do it as your potty training. So you can look at the data and figure out when they need to go. Okay. And this is from one of my master classers. This is Teresa, and she sent me this email, and she wanted to let me know that her son, Ian, who was 10 years old when they joined the program, is officially potty trained. She said 2 magical things happened. He watched a video of people opening and eating candy on YouTube. It was one of his big things he liked to watch on YouTube. So he got a huge 1-pound peanut butter cup for Christmas, and it was the perfect reward for potty training. He got a piece of that cup every time he would poop on the potty, pee or poop on the potty. For number 2, they implemented a token board system for his reward. And if he got like 5 or 6 successful days of being dry and having, successful days, he'd get a local stay at a hotel with a swimming pool. And he literally went into the bathroom at that moment. She said, when she told him about the reward and shit on the toilet, she said his teachers are just speechless because she's never seen such a quick turnaround in any of the children she's worked with. And I can't tell you, Michelle, how much joy, unspeakable joy I have in my heart right now for all of us. A veil of depression that I didn't know existed has lifted, and I can see and feel more clearly now. This program we put in place is so much more fun and affordable than any of the treatments I've paid for. This is possible for your babies. He was 10 years old. We just potty trained an 18-year-old in the program 2 weeks ago. She joined a month ago. This is possible for your baby. All right. Potty training's not done unless the shit's going in the toilet too. So let's talk about poop. Bowel training. Nailing pee first is usually the way it goes. And the reason that happens is you get a lot more reps for peeing, right? You go to the pee a lot more times than you do poop. So that's okay. Getting number 2 can take longer. The key tips here, if your child has an accidental poop on the toilet while they're peeing, that should get a huge amount of reinforcement. You might even double up the reinforcement or give a separate high value reinforcement for poop. For my kids, I used to do a wrapped present, a big wrap present. They loved unwrapping gifts. I'd say, if you go poop on the pie, you get to open this present. And if your child has an accident and poops in their underwear, we're not going to lose her shit. This is what that was the old Michelle. The new Michelle doesn't lose her shit. She says, we're going to take the child with the poop filled underwear to the potty and have them shake the poop in the potty and say, too bad, poop or pee-pee goes here, time to clean up. See how different that feels versus like freaking out and getting really frustrated. And I know sometimes it's a knee-jerk reaction to get frustrated, but we're working on our mind now, right? We're all in agreement now. We're only going to be in alignment now that this is affecting the output. This is affecting the results I have right now. And if I can keep this right, and I said, listen, this is a part of the process. We're doing it. I'm proud of myself that we're doing this. just even like give yourself some fucking kudos for showing up and doing it. There's no way you're not going to get the result of a potty trained child. And if your child waits until you put the pull-up on to poop, how's that happening? Because we all committed, right? We all committed. If we're at this point, there are no pull-ups. I think somebody said this to me today. Oh, they'll hold it so bad. And then they hand me the pull-up and they just hand me the pull-up. And I just don't know what to do. Fucking don't put it on. That's what you do. I say that with love. But really, you're like, no, why? What? I don't understand. Why? We just talked about no pull-ups. No pull-ups. We're done. Bowel training, wiping. The job is not complete until they are wiped, right? So basically what we do is we take 5 squares, toilet paper is white for a reason. We put 5 squares together, we count, we make it fun, hand over hand, front to back. If it comes back around, we fold it over, do it again. The idea here is that they're learning the full process to have a successful pee or poop. In the beginning, we immediately reward as soon as pee or poop hits the toilet. As they start getting more reps of this, then we want to give them the reward after the whole job is complete, meaning that the hands are washed and dried. So you want to focus on 3 steps after your child pees and poops. That's pulling up their underwear, flushing, and washing hands. Consistency is key, and the reinforcement is key. And this is how you build the habit loop. We have a child who fecal smears. We get that a lot when parents come in. We want to understand the function of the fecal smearing so we can create the solve for it. And a lot of you guys just automatically assume they play with their poop. I can't believe they play with their poop. But then when I actually look at the ABCs of it, that's called what we call an ABA. By the way, I'm not formally trained in ABA. I just know this because it's part of my life for how many thousands of years. But we want to learn what happened before the fecal smearing, what the behavior of the fecal smearing looked like, and what happens right after. And your child could be fecal smearing for a few reasons. To get your attention. Negative attention is still attention. They may like the feel of it, sensory. They may be using it to delay an unpreferred activity. Oh, the therapist is coming. Let me take a shit in my pants and then start playing with it because then I don't have to do table time, right? They could be doing it because they're in pain, right? There could be infections, abdominal pain, discomfort. The solve here is to figure out what your child's reason is based on the above. And in ABA, we call it the ABCs of it. The antecedent is what happens before behavior. What does the fecal smearing look like itself? And then what's the consequence? I had a mother swear to me that her child was just loved to play with poop, and we were addressing it like we wanted to play with poop, and it was still not, the solve I created wasn't working. And I said, well, why don't you tell me exactly what you see? And she said, okay, well, he was playing and all of a sudden I saw him put his hands in his pants, and then I saw that the poop came out and he dropped on the floor, and then his hand was dirty, and then he wiped it on the table. I'm like, he's not playing with it. He wants to fucking be potty trained. We really got to get cracking. Why is he in a diaper, right? Why is this still happening? He's telling you he doesn't like the way it feels in his pants. He just wanted it out so he could get back to playing. But like, I think what happens is we instantly go into fight or flight when we see shit on our kids' hands, face, the walls. Like we can't see clearly. One of the best things about working with me is I always look at like your scenario, the thing that you guys bring to me to solve. I'm not in the mental mud of it. I'm not in the field dealing with it. I'm looking at it from the drone view. And that's how I can see these things like I can. That's why it's so great to be a part of my program, because I'm there for you every step of the way. So I'm like, no, that's not playing with the poop. That's just us. That's him just giving us another heads up that he's ready to potty train. So if this is another example, if they're doing it for attention. So how would you know a child's doing it for attention? That means they're taking the shit out and they're like rubbing it on the walls and making sure you see it. Or sometimes they'll go outside with it and they'll make sure that you're there and then they smush it, right? Or they're smiling while they do it, right? If they're doing it for attention, even negative attention is valuable to a child. It means I'm significant, right? We want to make sure that we're not giving them attention when they're doing it if it's for attention-seeking behavior. And I know what you're thinking, how am I not giving them attention? They just smeared shit off the walls. So what I tell parents to do is there's no comments, no talking, no eye contact, no nothing. We immediately take the child, wash the child's hands off. We grab the paper towel, hand over hand, by the way, the child's cleaning it up with you. Even though I know it, like you're thinking, oh, it's so much easier, just let me clean it up. No, let them be a part of it. Let them realize that this is not fun for anybody. And we're all cleaning it off, no eye contact, they might try and get you to smile. They might try and touch it again, whatever the case may be. Clean them up, and you only give them attention once they've moved on to an activity and their behavior is appropriate. I always look at attention-seeking behavior as them trying to tell us that they want more time with us. So if I'm looking at attention-seeking behavior and they're doing the shit on the walls and they know that'll always get a reaction, right? I want to give them attention when they're doing things right. Like when they're sitting at the table and they're eating. Good job eating at the table. Good job being quiet in the car, right? So these are the times I want to encourage want to remind myself, give them some of that attention they're looking for so that they're not seeking it out with their shit. And if it's sensory, like some kids are legit, this is what it looks like when they're really playing with it. Like they're kind of off in their own world and they're smushing it around or they're smushing it onto the ground. That's sensory seeking. So if I had to think about something I could give them to replace actual poop, that probably feels the same. I would say it would be Play-Doh, putty, slime, kinetic sand. Anything that gives them that same sensory payout, I want to put into their environment so they're less likely to do that. All right, so the final process that we want to talk about tonight is the asking for the potty. That's a huge one for you guys. You guys love to shit on the whole process. We'll get it to a point where every time you tell them to go, they'll go and you're like, yeah, but they're not asking for it. And guess what? That's a part of the problem. Well, not a part of the, I wouldn't even say it's a problem. That's a part of the process for all children, not just children on the spectrum. First, they need to have it, quote unquote, click. And the way they quote unquote click that pee and poop go here is I take them a lot and we get a lot of wins, right? They start pairing oh, it went in there and that's why you gave me the iPad. Oh, okay, I'm going to do that again. That's the beauty of this. That's why they don't need to be verbal to be potty trained, right? So successful potty training of a child on the spectrum or in your typical child require the same fundamental principles. And this is a part of the process for all children, autism or not. For teaching your child to ask for the potty, think how they communicate now and what would be easiest. A potty picture, a potty sign. That's what Juliana used. This was a sign for potty training. A communication device, a verbal prompt. And you want to use that and you're going to say, okay, time for a potty. And this is what happens. You're going to get a lot of reps and throughout all of this process, by the way, they're being rewarded, right? So they're going to get a lot of reps of doing this. And then as time goes on, you're going to say, look at your toilet training data sheet and say, okay, every half hour when I take them, we're having 100% success day or even 80%. So if I start seeing that after a couple of days and I want to start widening the window, and one of two things is going to happen when they widen the window, either they're going to have an accident or they're going to feel nature call and they're going to run to the bathroom or they're going to tell you, right? So we want to make sure that if we want them to tell us, be one of the ways that they've already been exposed to the idea of a potty picture or a potty sign, or like this is the button I hit on my device to tell me to potty train. I also put on here a potty watch. I like that too. If a child, we want to make sure we're always thinking when we're prompting that we're going to fade that prompt. Ideally, we want them to be able to go without having to be prompted to go. Okay. But we want to work on, but we don't want to shit on that part of the process. It's a part of it for all children. First, pee and poop go here. Then I give you a lot of reps of me telling you when to go. Even my kids are 10 and 8. And I'll say, all right, guys, we're going out to dinner. Go to the bathroom. I don't need to go. No, I want you to go just to make sure that because we're not going at the restaurant. See what I'm saying? So the idea here is it's a part of the process of just being a parent. You just want to be able to say it less and less over time. Okay. All right. Perfect. So here are a recap of the skills you need to potty train your child. Number one, you need to be consistent. I think a lot of us will agree that if we've tried potty training before, we've probably quit, because if you're here, that means you don't have a potty trained child. That means you're still in diapers. So consistency, if we haven't been consistent before, we're going to be consistent now. Number two is you need to be committed. I've just shared with you for over the last, 30 minutes, that there's no reason that this can't happen. You don't need to be verbal to be potty trained. It's all behavior. Okay, if I do this behavior, I don't get, if I shit at my pants or shit on the floor, I don't get the thing. But if I shit in the toilet, I get the thing. I don't need to talk about that. It's just all behavior. So you need to be committed to the process. And number three is you need to be willing to clean up accidents. Accidents, it's not potty perfection, right? It's potty training. You need to be willing and committed to cleaning up the accidents. And that's just a part of the process. And number four, you need to be in a winning and learning mentality. There is no fail. And that's a mindset thing, right? There is no fail. Either I'm learning or I'm winning. And not just at potty training, at fucking everything. And when you start looking at your life like that, instead of looking at the things that didn't go the way you wanted them to go, and start looking at them as like, that's not really a problem. It's reps. It's experience. I know that won't work for me, so I'm not going to do that again. That's a learn. That's not a fail. And the only true fail you'll learn is quitting on yourself and quitting on your child. And the result Your child will be more compliant, not just with potty training. This is why I love what we do here, because how you teach potty training is how I'm going to teach communication. It's how I'm going to teach them to try new foods. It's how I teach them everything. You're going to be more confident that you can teach your child anything. You're going to be less stressed, and you and your child are going to have more freedom. I mean, forget about just for potty training. I mean, that you're going to be able to go somewhere and not have to worry about changing diapers or bringing a diaper bag or, sneaking off to change a shit. You're not going to have to do that anymore. Your child's going to you're going to show the child where the bathroom is. They're going to tell you when they need to go. And this is going to be, that alone is going to bring freedom to your life, but forget it. I mean, you can start learning these processes of potty training, start applying it to other things. Your life is going to completely change. And that's the Potty Power class. And I hope this was helpful for you guys tonight. And I want to invite you guys, if you loved what you heard, that to take action now, to get support while you're going through the potty process. What if we can get you potty trained in 2 weeks so that we can spend time together getting all those other things done, like communication, reducing problem behaviors. And that's what my masterclass is all about. And one of the things you might want for your child is you want them to, obviously, if you're here, you want them using the bathroom. You don't want them in diapers anymore. And you want to hear your child be able to speak and hear their voice. You may have a child that tantrums a lot, and you don't want them to tantrum anymore. You don't want them to get aggressive with you or others. You want your child to be able to go to any school, extracurricular activity, camp without the autism diagnosis making it impossible. By the way, it's not the autism diagnosis that's making this difficult. It's your thoughts about the autism. I want to go on a vacation, holidays, parties without having to hover over, explain away your child's behaviors. What do you want for yourself? We're all obsessed with the destination, right? We're all thinking about potty training and just being done with this. And I want you to believe after tonight, you have all the skills and tools within you and tools from this workshop to get this done. But I want you to start thinking about the journey is just as important as the destination. And what do you want your life to be looking like as this mother, as this father, as this grandparent of this child? I want you to believe that autism is not a death sentence, because it's not. I want you to know that you've left no stone unturned for your child. I want you to live every day knowing that if you died tomorrow, you gave 110%, no regrets. And when you're gone, your child can be independent. I want that for you too. This was also from a master classer. Her name is Kimberly, and she wrote me this email, and she said, when I found you, Easton was 3 and I couldn't get a firm diagnosis. He had very few words, 0 social skills, and was not potty trained. I found you the same day as our IEP meeting. That day I was defeated and overwhelmed after they asked me to list some of Easton's strengths. I sat there in tears as I struggled to come up with an answer. I had to find help, and luckily I found you. It's been 2 years since I joined the masterclass, and today I had a meeting with the school regarding his kindergarten placement. He's set to start in a general education class 80% of the time. He is fully potty trained and has no aggressive behaviors. His speech is blossoming, and he tells me he loves me on a daily basis. I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, had I not found you, we would not be here. I want you to know the work you do is appreciated. It's truly made all the difference in my life, and most importantly, Easton's life. You've literally turned our life around, and I can't tell you enough what that means to our family. You are truly a lifesaver. And this was a letter I got from Juliana's speech language pathologist as we were about to enter kindergarten. She wrote this to us, thanking us for a gift we had given her. And she basically had said, and I'll never forget it, I have this card. And she said that Juliana, for the last year and a half, it's been amazing to watch her blossom. And she has had more gains and skills than I've ever seen in 25 years of experience. Because I believe that she could be the exception to the rule, that I could create that for her. And this is what I want for you guys. And this is why I do what I do. And this is why I want to invite you to join the Champions for Our Children Masterclass. And when you come into the masterclass, you get personalized strategies for exactly where your baby is at. You'll have a potty trained child. We have a 100% success rate. A month ago, 18 years old, potty trained. This could be your life. You'll start to reconnect to your child because communication will finally be in place. We're going to get to the root level of your child's problem behaviors and treat it, not just treat the symptom, so that we can stop it from continuing to happen. This is so huge. When life happens, we're going to help you to get back on track. If a regression happens, we're going to tell you exactly how to handle it. We're going to learn from trial and error rather than quitting on our kids. The only true fail of an autism parent is quitting. We're going to teach you how to build that champion mindset, so you no longer have to worry about autism every minute of every day, and you'll get your independence back too. That's the huge, amazing byproduct of my program. I want you to get your life back. I want you to get the life that you thought you were going to live before autism became a part of it. And the way that my program works, it's a 3-month group coaching program with guaranteed results. And what you get when you join is, the first thing you're going to get is you're going to get my study vault of courses. You're going to get lifetime access to this, and you're going to be able to listen to them on your own time. You get courses on potty training, communicating, stopping problem behaviors, social skills, picky eating. By the way, everything I've gone through here is everything I've just lived with my child, and I've helped with all the families that have joined the masterclass. And I build out this workshop, this vault of workshops every month, and you're going to have lifetime access to it. And you can do it in 30 days, or you can take your time, and you'll have lifetime access to the web portal. And this collection of programs is what makes me feel like the masterclass is the Harvard of autism. I cover everything. In addition to that, you're also going to get 3 to 4 live group coaching calls, and you're going to learn from me and my experts. So you're not just going to work with me, you're going to work with people I love in this industry. So on Monday nights is your call with me. Actually, there's 2 calls now on Monday, because we're getting so big. I love it that we have to have 2 calls with me. So we have 2 calls, 1 call in the morning and 1 call at night. And you're going to talk to an autism parent just like you. And I'm going to talk to you and create a blueprint. We're going to start working on potty training. We're going to start working on communication. We're going to work on problem behaviors, picky eating, you name it. And each week you're going to meet with me, and we're going to keep building on that progress. And even though it's a group call, everyone gets their questions answered. So that's your call with me. I'm the autism mom and life coach. I call myself the jack of all trades, and you get to speak to me every Monday. In addition to that, you're also going to get to speak to BCBAs. BCBAs are teachers with a master's degree in ABA. ABA is the #1 prescribed therapy for children with autism, for good reason. And it's an amazing therapy. It is what I even say to this day is the #1 primary educator for Juliana is not her school. It's not speech. It's not whatever. It's ABA, because it speaks the language of behavior, which is the language of, it's the purest, rawest form of language for all of us. And you're going to actually be able to get on a call with our BCBAs, and you're going to learn the effective strategies you can do. You're going to implement my blueprint, and then you're going to take their skill set and you're going to keep building on it every week. And one of the, we have 3 BCBAs that run our weekly coaching calls. One of them is Armando, and I love Armando. I call him my trifecta, because in this world of ABA, there's very rarely a male teacher. So he's male, he is a BCBA, but he's also an adult with autism, who didn't learn to speak until the age of 7, whose mother was told he would never speak. He remembers being nonverbal. He remembers biting himself out of frustration. This boy became a man who got married last year, who believes so much in this that he became a BCBA himself. And you're going to get to speak with him. You're going to get to speak with him and be a part of my program if you join us. And in addition to that, we spent a big chunk of the beginning of this call all about mindset. I call them like my therapist in a box, and that's Risa and Holly. They are going to help you with your thoughts. One of the biggest things I'm going to talk about tonight, because I'm the jack of all trades, I'm going to talk about tactical, but I'm also going to talk to you about your thoughts and the thoughts that are stopping potty training from happening. You're going to see that during coaching tonight. And you're going to get to talk to mindset coach, either Risa or Holly, every week. We're going to talk to you about your thoughts about yourself as a parent, your thoughts about autism. You're going to get like the support like you've never had before. And this is every week you get to speak to all of us, 3 to 4 coaching calls a week, and everyone gets their questions answered. And if you're not getting coached, you can listen to other families get coached and feel connected, because all of us, we're doing this journey together. In addition to the 3 to 4 group coaching calls a week, in addition to lifetime access to the study vault, you're also going to get monthly specialist calls. You're going to get to talk to a registered dietitian who's an autism mom. That's Greer. With some of our babies, I believe that there is a mind-gut connection. And if we get the gut right, cognitive abilities thrive. I wouldn't say it's for all children, but some children. We've had children who come into the program like mom's like, listen, I've got the loose stool problem. No problem. You're going to get with Greer. You're going to get on that call and she's going to help you to get that right. We get that right. We can get potty training. Nobody leaves without a potty trained child. So you get to talk to Greer once a month. And we also have a speech language pathologist who was a master classer. And now she's one of my coaches. That's Jessica. And she has a child with autism as well. You're going to be talking to a lot of people that aren't just doing this for a living, but living this life. Melissa, my other BCBA, is an aunt of a child with autism. Her sister's child has autism. You're going to get to speak to not just professionals, but professionals who know what it's like to have autism a part of their life. And everyone gets their questions answered. And I'm adding specialists all the time. We're going to have a feeding specialist. I think I'm going to have an OT by the end of the summer that's going to host a monthly call. I mean, you're going to have so much support. You're never not going to feel like you can't get a question answered. Everyone gets their questions answered on these calls. So in addition to the lifetime access to the study vault, 3 to 4 live group coaching calls a week, the monthly specialist calls, you're also going to be a part of our private Facebook community. This is where if you have questions for me or you want to just connect with the other families, you're never going to be alone anymore. You can post what you need and I check that group daily. And you can also email me directly. When you join the masterclass, you become part of my family. Your baby becomes my baby. And I want you to know I'm here for you. You want to send me an IEP. You want to send me a video. You want to talk about strategy. I am here for you. We are connected for life. Even though the masterclass is 3 months, we're connected for life. Support is my North Star. I want to see you win. I want you to have your baby to have the life that that life I'm living now, the life that my daughter is going to live. So you're going to get the study vault. You're going to get the 3 to 4 weekly live group coaching calls. You're going to get the specialist calls monthly. You're also going to get the private Facebook group community. You're going to get access to me via email. But in addition to that, I believe so much in what I do that I offer an action-back guarantee. And that action-back guarantee, it means that if you come to at least 1 call a week, meaning mine or the BCBA's call, and if after 90 days you don't get the results you came for, you stay until you do, or I'm going to give you your money back. I'll let you decide. You're coming every week and you're working with me or you're working with the BCBA to get those results you came for, whether it be potty training, communicating, reducing problem behaviors. Either you stay until you get that or you get your money back. That's how solid I am in what I offer here. I've never had somebody leave without a potty trained child who stayed and did the work, and it's never happened. Communication. I can even say for communication, we start with a child that tantrums all the time to a child that is using a PEC system that's starting to make sounds intentional. We've had so much progress with everything. This program is about supporting you every step of the way. So if you join us tonight, you're going to get lifetime access to the study vault, 3 to 4 live group coaching calls, the monthly specialist calls, the private Facebook community, access to me, and my action-back guarantee. But just for tonight, just for you guys who've come to the workshop, I'm going to give you a bonus. And if you sign up tonight by midnight, you're going to get 1 private session with me. So that way, before you even get on the calls, you can actually decide. I have parents who will say, I want to hold off on that for like a month or 2, or I want to hold off for a week or 2. You have all the time that you're in the program to book this call with me, and we can talk about anything you want. We can talk about your IEP. We can talk about potty training. We can talk about your thoughts. We can talk about communication. I'm here for you. And this is a call where it's just going to be you and me. And it's a bonus if you join the masterclass, you get that access to me tonight. And in addition to all of this and the bonus of speaking with me, you're also going to get 5 months in the program instead of 3. So normally my program is 90 days. That's more than enough time to get the results that you came for, whether it be potty training or communication. But if you stay and you join the program tonight, you're going to get 5 months instead of 3. And that's 60 plus calls to change your life. And bonus number 3, you're going to get everything that's here. You join me tonight, we're going to take $500 off the program, but you have to join by midnight. For Potty Power students only, normally the cost for the masterclass is $2,997, but we're going to take $500 off tonight. And the investment is going to be $2,497, or 3 payments of $878, or 4 payments of $660. That averages out to about $16 a day for 70 plus calls to change your life. And all bonuses are going to go away at midnight. Jen's going to put the link in the chat box for you guys to join. And for you guys, if you book by midnight, you're going to get those bonuses. You're going to get that private session with me, 5 months in the program. I mean, that's tremendous. So much time with me, 5 months in the program instead of 3, and you're going to get the $500 off. Okay. Now, if you're thinking, can I afford to spend the money on this? Or this is expensive. What do these thoughts mean to you? We talked a lot tonight about thought work, right? We talked a lot about our thoughts. I want you to understand that the masterclass, the way I see it's an investment in your life and the way you're going to live your life from now on. And I do understand and appreciate it's an investment, but what is it costing you to continue to live the life that you're living now? And I also want to hit home too, when I think about my thoughts about spending money, I always want to think about in the context of the value that it's going to give me. And I want to know, like, in my heart of hearts, like, if there's anything I've said tonight that's connected you to me, that I'm here to see you win, that we're offering that guarantee, that I know this is an investment, but I love to think of it as an investment with so much value that there's a huge ROI waiting for you. And that you could spend your money on anything. I understand that. But this is something that's going to be not just for potty training. This is something that's going to affect you for the rest of your life. And I want you to really understand, like, yes, I acknowledge it is an investment, but it's an investment in the way that you're going to be a parent to this child for years to come. If you're thinking that you're too busy or you don't know if now's a good time, I want you to understand, if you are too busy right now to potty train and you're too busy to get on one call a week with me, this is going to take so much longer for you to potty train. It's going to be so much harder and it's going to take so much longer for you to do this on your own if you're already having the thoughts that I'm too busy or now's not a good time, right? If we think about life, there's never really a good time. If we think about, like, we're all living busy lives as parents of children with autism. We all are living busy lives, right? We have lots of things to do. You're already over showing up. I want to help you to show up more effectively. And the way I think about time is I actually think it's more valuable than money, because once time is spent, I can't get it back. So if time is more valuable than money, then I want to be somewhere where I'm using my time wisely. And the way I see it now is that you are all running as autism parents or autism caretakers. You're already running in overtime. I want to teach you to use that time more effectively. You give me 1 hour a week and I'm going to show you how to get their time back. If you don't have time now, this is going to take even longer for you to do on your own. Time for children on the spectrum is more valuable than money, and we can't afford to waste a minute not being strategic in how we spend it. And if you're thinking, I need to think about it, it doesn't take time to make a decision. It takes information. And I want you to think about the thought, I need to think about it. Sometimes we think that if we sit with an idea or sit with the decision whether to do this or not, that the answer will come to us. And that's not how it works. In fact, the more we sit with it and the more we don't make a decision, and I'm not talking about just making the decision to join me. I'm talking about making a decision, either you join me or not, instead of like, I don't know what to do, or I need to think about it, which isn't a decision. The more you're going to feel scared and the more you're not willing to jump and try something new. And the way the brain, you know, how the brain will sometimes take you to a connection of like, oh, definitely do this. Oh, yes, do this. Or, oh, I think about it, right? Like where you might be thinking about my program, is that it's doing that based off of decisions it's made in the past. But if you were going to make decisions based upon a gut instinct of like, oh, I should jump, or, oh, I don't know. I just need to think about it, right? I'm really nervous. Could this work for me? Do I have the unicorn, which we're going to talk about in a second, right? That decision-making is giving you the results that you're living with now. If I always go off of like the gut feeling based on known decisions I've made in the past, I get more of living the life I'm living now. I want you to take the jump. I want you to make a decision either way. If you can give yourself anything tonight, give me a decision. Give yourself the gift of a decision. If you're having the thought, I guarantee I'm going to run into this tonight when I coach. I failed so many times, or I've tried everything. How will this be different? I don't believe in true failures. I'm either learning or I'm winning. And it's funny, my husband said something like this to me the other day, and he said, you know, that thing was a total waste of time that I did. It was such a waste of money. It was a money grab and a total waste of time. And I said, what if it wasn't? What if you just had a bad practitioner of it, right? And instead of like looking at that as like a total waste of time or total money grab or a total waste of effort, what if it was just a learn? Like, okay, now I know I'd never go and use this person again. Now I know that the strategies that this person gave me did not work. I'm learning. What if that was tuition? I always say, like, I'll take courses and then some of them I'll absolutely love and I get a lot of, and some of them it's like, that was my tuition, my life skill tuition, to know that that type of action isn't going to work for me. And if I think, if I stop myself with, I failed and I've so many times and I've tried everything, and how will this be different? What if this is going to be different? What if all of those things that you've tried in the past led you to this moment to have the thing that actually works? The masterclass and investment for the way you live your life and teach your child for the rest of your lives. It's also more valuable than anything you can buy, because you get years back in peace, knowing the future for your child has possibilities. And I just wanted to lay this out for you from every angle, right? Talking about the actual cost of keeping your child in diapers and keep buying diapers and wipes. It's over $2,000 a year. Think about the cost of the time it takes you to change them, right? It comes down to about 135 hours annually. That's 4 weeks a year out of your life. The cost of not being able to move on mentally, right? We talk about mindset, right? If we want to get our mind thinking positive thoughts, I got to start thinking positive thoughts. I got to actually get the momentum going. And every day, every week, every month, every year that goes by that your child's not potty trained, it's fucking with your brain. And the more it fucks with your brain there, it's going to fuck with your brain everywhere. And what is that costing you to not get this rite of passage from baby to child? And can you afford to pay this any longer? And I want to talk about unicorn syndrome, and I'll get this all the time. Oh, Juliana's different than my child. Well, by the way, Juliana was diagnosed moderate to severe, and she lost her language, and we had to teach her sign language to speak. My child has severe autism, right? These are these thought errors. Armando did not speak till the age of 7. His mother was told he would never speak. This works for other kids, but it won't work for mine. My child's broken. I'm broken. There's nothing out there that'll change the trajectory for my child. Unicorn syndrome is a self-preservation state. If I stay here, I never put myself out there to have these hopes and dreams for my baby. And when that doesn't happen, I can't be hurt. Another thing we never talked about earlier about the mind is that the mind is not made to keep us happy and to give us the things we want, including a high-trained child, and to elevate us. The mind is made to keep us safe, not make us happy, not elevate us, to keep us safe. It wants to, and safety to the mind is the life you're living now. That's why taking the leap to pay for something, taking a leap to join a program when you've tried a lot of things that have failed, right? Your mind is like, fuck that, get back in the cave. We can live this life. You may not like it, but we're all safe here. So you can keep changing diapers. We have to challenge that. That's not the life. That's not the journey that I want. I know you want the destination. I want to change your journey so you can get that destination. And if your brain is putting you in self-preservation state by telling you, well, yeah, her kid's like that, but your kid does different things, way worse. Or, his kid, he way worse what you have, right? It's your brain just saying, listen, don't try anything new, because that could be painful for us. And pain is danger to the brain. But the way you're living your life now is painful. It's what I'm asking you to do is no more painful than the life you're living now. It's just the life and the pain that you're living with now is more familiar. My pain, the pain of change that I'm going to bring to it, isn't any more painful. It's just different, but it has a rainbow at the end of it. The life you're living now doesn't. And subconsciously, when we're in this state of self-preservation, my brain thinks, if I don't risk anything and fail, I won't survive it. Like if I can't risk trying and failing, because if I do, I won't survive it. And I'll tell you something, as a mother of a child with autism who has tried many things and a lot of it hasn't worked, I'm still here. It's standing and breathing. If anything, those things are not fails. I'm either learning or winning, right? They've made me stronger. I can withstand it more. That's why you need this. I want to help you to get strong. I want to get you the identity of somebody who could be the exception to the rule. Sitting in I don't know or asking shitty questions with no real answers keeps you stuck and not taking action to help your baby now. Indecision is keeping you second guessing and losing precious time that you could be making progress. Nothing comes from an I don't know, I need to think about it, or a bullshit question you can't answer. Just decide. Give yourself and your child the gift of a decision tonight. Decide you're not ready and won't do the work, or decide you're nervous but you're willing to go for it. Give yourself the gift of a decision. Honor yourself and your child right now. If fears or worry are dominating your day and night, join me. If there's something in you that identifies with what I've taught you today and it makes sense to take a leap of faith, join us. Saying yes tonight will have you and your baby moving forward. Click the link to join us. All bonuses go away at midnight. And I'm just going to take a quick potty break. We're going to watch
This
the
was
video.
the 7-year-old kid. He turned 7 in July, who will pee and pretty much poop in his pull-ups.
So we were not potty trained. We were not talking much. He wasn't able, if I told him to go get something, do any of those things.
Needless to say, the first day, it was like having a new puppy. She peed all day at school, everywhere.
Potty training, we had tried it before, I really hit the ground running. When he turned 4.5, I'm like, okay, we're ready for this. Let's do it. Then he started showing some negative behaviors where causing self-harm and things. It just was a negative experience all around. And so at that point, it kind of became one of those big obstacles where it's like, okay, I know we need to do this eventually, but I don't want the same thing to happen again that already happened.
Yeah, I was a little skeptical because of how many times I have tried with Alexander. This is now my 5th time of attempting potty training with him.
And, buying the pull-ups every day, it's not cheap.
How do I get him talking? How do I get him pooping in the potty? I have spent tens of thousands of dollars on recovering my son.
Our son was like a year or 2 of potty training. He's 4 years old. He's autistic. And he had been hospitalized a couple of times because of potty training related issues.
But now we go outside and not in pull-ups because we've learned to let him use the bathrooms.
He's awesome. He is fully potty trained now. We never in a million years thought that it would happen this early.
They're doing really, really well. Both are potty trained. I'd say 95% of the time, doing really, really well.
I said, all right, I made the right decision. I signed up right then and there. I knew in my heart that this was the place that I needed to be.
So this program encouraged me to, we can do it. So we did. So we started 3 days.
Obviously, potty training is huge. Just a lot of things.
He's fully potty trained. We go everywhere, just in our undies. We don't have to worry about that.
And then the potty training. You helped me formulate the confidence in myself to realize when it's ready and to really go for it. And he's now potty trained, doing it on his own, taking himself. And it went so much better than I ever could have imagined.
He honestly now is 85% potty trained. Now and then he has some accidents, but he pretty much is able to go on his own.
It was within days after really, really trying it that he really was just like, okay, I'm going to do this on my own.
You guys saved my family. How I got through as much as I did without you.
I'm so grateful for Michelle and her team and how much they helped boost my confidence and realize how I can advocate for my child.
I was scared I was going to be one of those parents that their child was not going to be potty trained.
We did the 3-day intensive, like you suggested, and Ezra is potty trained, 100% no accidents for pee. 2 weeks ago, we completely removed the diapers in the night.
Yes, it's very exciting to have him potty trained, and that was our goal for school.
Everything, we got the service for him in 3 months. He's potty trained, he's more verbal.
He's potty trained. I take him to the potty, he pees. He has no accidents and he loves going to the potty. There's no problematic behavior.
And we're lock in step. And I think because he's got the pooping down and he's very independent of the whole process.
I started listening to the tips from Michelle, got involved in the course, and in the first couple of weeks, my son was fully potty trained.
He is like 3 million times further than where he was. And My mom's like, we have so much to thank them for. I was like, I know, Mom.
So I will recommend you to any, but whoever is out there that's confused, thinking there's no help and they are all by themselves, no, not all by yourself. Get with Michelle and she will get you to take the baby steps.
Take this course, you know, do the one-on-ones, listen and absorb everything that this team has to offer because it has been absolutely life-changing for me.
Absolutely. Hands down of everything we've done in Evoca, this has been the best thing. This was the most support and all the way around.
You guys have a gift. And you're sharing it, and that's amazing.
100%. I do recommend it because all weeks when I come here for any of the calls, you learn something new.
This is going to help you. You can learn through other parents' experiences. You can, you know, have some camaraderie with people that are going through the same thing as you are.
You'd be crazy to not get in this program if you have concerns about your child, even if you don't want to go after a diagnosis.
Absolutely. And I have already been recommending Champions for Our Children.
It's amazing. I can't recommend the program enough.
Yes, definitely. You guys need to do this program. It'll change you guys and your child's life tremendously.
Just do it. Don't hold back. Just go all in with your daughter or your son. And I promise you will definitely see results. Because truly, I'm not gonna lie, I was skeptical for a little while. I waited. I really kind of went over the program a few times. I'm like, I don't know if I can do this, but it was totally worth the sacrifice of me as a very active mom. Sitting in the bathroom is not for me, and I did it. And I'm very proud of myself for developing the patience that I have with her.
That's amazing. You know, I think about like, there was a mom who joined the program with a 15-year-old and she had talked to us about joining like 6 months prior. And she joined and within like 2 weeks, we were done. And she was like, my God, you know, I could have had that 2 weeks 6 months ago. And it really blew my mind too. I'm like, yeah, you know, like this was always available to you. And I'm so happy she joined us, and I hope you guys I'm excited to have all our new members join us here as well. And let's get to coaching. So before we get to coaching, here's how this is going to work. If you want to be coached tonight, you're going to raise your hand. There's a little raise hand button, and I'm going to help you guys. You want to make sure that you have good internet. You are in a quiet place. You're going to show your audio and your video. And while we're bringing her up, Jen, you can do the wheel of names for everybody who's still here. You are going to win a chance to have a private session with me. Are you ready, Jen? Jen, are you ready? Just kidding. While she gets that ready, I'm going to answer some questions that are in the Q&A. I've struggled and failed many, many times. That is a thought error, right? So when I think I've struggled and failed many, many times, how does that feel in your body? I'm assuming she feels defeated. I'm assuming she feels like this sucks. I'm assuming she feels like nothing is going to change. If I'm feeling that way, how successful am I going to be to potty train, right? Okay, let's see. Well, let's see who won. Let's see who wins. Oh, exciting, exciting, exciting. Did you hit the button? It is Jessica Laycock. Woo! Congratulations, Jessica. You want a free session? You're going to email info@michellebrodgers.com and we will set up your free session with me. All right. So while we are getting this done, I am going to bring up who wants to be coached tonight. I know we went a little over. I try to get to Q&A as quickly as possible. All right. I'm going to start with Erica. If you want to be coached, you're going to raise your hand. All right. I'm going to promote you to panelist. Erica, your screen's going to flash and you're going to come back to us. See, from Tamika, I have 2 autistic boys, 8 and 4. Neither one is potty trained, and I'm so overwhelmed. I'm not in a quiet area, so I can't raise my hand to be coached. That's fine, Tamika. So what I want to say about this is that overwhelmed, the feeling of overwhelmed, that's the feeling, but it's also a thought. And when I feel I'm overwhelmed, right? If I'm having the thought that I'm overwhelmed, I'm by myself, whatever you have to think, almost like reverse engineer the feeling of overwhelmed. There's a thought that's actually creating that. And if I could start looking at the thoughts that are making me feel overwhelmed, I have to start thinking about how I'm going to change that. And when I feel overwhelmed, the action you're going to take to potty training is probably nothing, because if I'm feeling overwhelmed, I do nothing. I freeze. So if you're feeling that way, you want to reverse engineer. What's the thought that's creating the overwhelm? Okay. All right. Perfect. Erica, are you here? All right. Unmute yourself, Erica.
Okay.
Tell me all about your baby.
He is actually going to be 6 years old. I want to say he's pre-verbal because he repeats everything possible.
Why wouldn't you say he's pre-verbal? Why wouldn't you even say he's an emerging talker? Because he can fucking say words.
He can,
right?
He can. But
so
he
like, what were you
doesn't
calling him before I told you you're no longer allowed to call him? Like, what were you calling him before I told you you're not allowed to call him nonverbal anymore? If it makes you feel like shit, we don't say it. That's my policy.
because I don't consider him nonverbal because he does say things. Like he does call me his mama or awi or certain things he says.
Yeah.
You know,
Functionally. So not only is he an emerging talker, he's starting to use some words functionally.
Yes. Yes.
So do you see like the language of how I'm describing it? It feels so much different than the way you may have thought about it before we even started talking.
Yeah.
That's why thoughts are 95% of the game. 5% is the actual tactical we do. It's 95% of the game. All right. All right. So tell me about him. So he's 6 years old, an emerging talker with some functional language that we're going to build on. Amazing. So what's his name?
Caleb.
Caleb. Okay. And Caleb, 6 years old, not potty trained, I assume?
No. He is in pull-ups. He's able to wear pull-ups. And he can sit on the toilet. Me and his teacher, we're both working on him, just trying to express that either he used the bathroom or it's time to change his pull-up. But his main thing is that when I tried to potty train him and I gave up, because I didn't give up. It's just, it was hard because I was pregnant at the time with my little one.
Okay.
He was in underwear. He does wear underwear as shorts right now, over the pull-up. But if he doesn't have the pull-up, he doesn't have the urge to tell me or even walk to the restroom to go.
All right.
So our big thing is him just letting us know.
Well, that's what you think the problem is, right?
I believe so.
Okay, so you think the problem, he's not potty trained. What you've tried to get him potty trained is you want to get him to tell you when he needs to go.
Yeah. Or at least let us know when he's wet.
Why would you want your goal for him to let you know when he's wet?
Because that will help him to, okay, you went to the restroom, let's go try to go to the restroom. But I guess because he's my first one, I've never potty trained anyone.
Okay. All right.
So I think
like
that's
you're attacking it this way because he has autism.
I believe so. I think once they gave me his diagnosis of autism, I kind of treated him more of a baby.
Oh, okay.
So because he's my first, my pregnancy was very traumatic for me because he came at 6 months. So he was extremely early and he was my baby. Or he's still my baby, but he's been my baby, my only baby for five years.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. So let me ask you a question. I'm going to tell you all how to fix this, or tell her what's the problem is so we can fix it. But if he didn't have autism, is this still the exact way you would try and potty train him?
Probably not. probably not. Cause we've
Why?
gotten the urinal, the little frog urinal. We've tried many things, but I believe that he wasn't ready to be potty trained. So that was my fault.
Okay. All right. So here's the thing. So why do you think you went about it this way? Because he's diagnosed with autism. And then I just asked you, if he wasn't diagnosed with autism, would you still go about potty training him this way? And you said no.
I think my mentality for him, and it's probably my fault, is that I don't want to get him upset, because his meltdowns right now are really bad. Because I don't have him in ABA. I've heard that's where I conflict from, is because I've heard bad things and I've heard good things about ABA. But I think for his age now, I think it would help me a lot.
Okay. All right. So we have a couple of thought errors going on here. So I'm going to address that first, and then I'm going to show you the tactical. One of the problems we have here is that we see autism as a huge fucking problem. And we see autism as this negative. And because I see it as this negative, I'm doing really wacky shit to potty train him. And wacky shit that you're doing is that you're trying to get him to tell you when he's had an accident versus just getting him to pee or poop on a potty. And I really haven't really figured out like why you see the value in that. You're making some connection that if he can tell you when he's wet, that's going to take you one step closer to potty training. But actually, it's just going to keep you from potty training, because all you're doing is just getting him to notify you when he's peed or pooped himself. And that he's still wearing a pull-up, in my mind, it's comfortable to be wet or dry. So I don't even give a fuck about telling you. I don't see the value in telling you. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're doing a little backwards, and the fact of like, I want to talk about them telling us when they need to go, not after they've gone, right? But I don't even go to learning or teaching that until they know that pee and poop actually don't go in my pants. It goes in the toilet. But the reason why you're doing, and that's why I said to you, if autism wasn't a part of the equation, we could still teach him this way, and you said no, but then you're having a hard time articulating why that was. And the reason that is because you're treating him, because autism for you makes you want to treat him like a baby. And what do babies wear?
Diapers.
Right.
They don't even wear pull-ups. They wear diapers.
They wear diapers. And you know what? And this is another big misconception for everybody, that pull-ups are an upgrade to a diaper. It's a fucking diaper. It just goes on and off a little easier. If I think, oh, my child's in a diaper, we're moving on. Like, people will correct me. I'll say, okay, he's in diapers. No, he's in a pull-up. Like, they're fucking the same thing. But like, we think that's up level. We think we're closer to potty training. It's a lateral move. So,
and
go ahead.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
It's I did have his art meeting, and that's where I get that thought from, is the teacher, because that's one of their goals.
That's a little thing too we call professionalitis, where when the autism diagnosis comes, all of our mother's intuition that we would have, that nobody knows our baby better than me, flies out the window, because we go with the person that's with them. Not you. You're going with somebody who's not even with them, and with a ton of other kids, and is taking all of their experience with all these different kids and creating an average and giving you an answer. And you're taking it as word, as this is the best way to potty train my son, and it's not. So one of the first things that we need to work on here is just the thought about autism means I have to treat him like a baby. Because if you have the thought that autism and I treat him like a baby because he has autism, then a baby stay in diapers. And that's if I am having this thought that I have to treat him like a baby because he has autism, and I'm trying to potty train, it's like, right, that one foot on the gas and one foot on the brake, and where do we go? Nowhere.
Yeah.
So the first thing I'd want to look at is our thoughts. Another thing you keep saying is, it's my fault. It's my fault. When you think it's your fault, how does that make you feel?
Like I'm not being good. Like I'm not being a good. Sorry.
Okay. No, it's okay. It's okay. That's why we got to unpack the brain, because it's full of nasty shit, right? That's keeping him in diapers. So you have a thought, it's my fault. And now you just gave me another thought, which was, what did you just say? You're not doing Because what?
Because I feel like I fail.
You
as a
feel like you
parent.
failed him. And when you think that you failed him, how does that make you feel?
It makes me feel bad. Like it makes me how I get right now, like just bad.
Emotional, sad, right?
Yeah.
So when I'm feeling like this is my fault, right? I'm thinking thoughts like this is my fault, or I'm letting him down, right? And it makes me feel bad. What kind of action are you going to be able to take to potty train him when you already feel like you failed him?
So because I was listening of, the power of thought. And that had me thinking, if I think like this, then he's not gonna, how would I say it? He's not gonna overcome what I
Right.
want him to do.
Yeah. The first step in thought work is just being aware that you're having these thoughts. Like one of the things you kept saying is my fault. And then I said, well, how does that make you feel? And then you added another thought on top of it. If I had to guess, you probably think really shitty thoughts about your parenting a lot.
I do.
And it's dominating every day. And you're trying to, at the same time, teach him life skills. That's impossible. Can't do that. So we need to start thinking different thoughts to create good feelings, right? To actually want to get potty training done.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So for so the first thing I'd want you to think, and this is the thing about thought work, we can't just immediately have like daily affirmations. That's all bullshit. That stuff never works. And the reason that stuff never works is because you don't believe it about yourself. You don't believe it about your life, and you don't believe it about yourself. So what we have to do here for you is we've got to start coming up with a thought that you can believe now about yourself. That feels good, right? So like if we think about you as a parent, what's something you're good at about being his mom?
We did it. What do you mean? Like what do you mean?
Tell me something that you do. Tell me something that makes me believe that you're a good mom to him. That you believe about yourself.
I'm a good mom because he's here. Like he's alive. Like there's nothing wrong with him.
I love that.
Like he's here. Like they're physically there's nothing wrong with him. And he has overcome so much.
Yes. And you were a part of that. Do you believe that you were a part of that?
Yeah. I don't believe
you are.
I know.
So if you can create that result for him, meaning that we've got this emerging talker, he's come so far from when he was diagnosed, he was born early, right? All of these obstacles that you've overcome. How does it feel? Like, don't you think you could easily, you could figure out potty training?
And I think what it is that because I'm so negatively thought, like just negative thoughts always come through my mind. For one, and I suffer a lot from depression, anxiety, and it doesn't help that I don't take care of myself to take care of them.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, mindset work like this is you taking care of yourself, filling your tank so that you can be here for your baby and take meaningful action for something like potty training.
I have taken a few steps, like reading onto behavior for his behavior. I've read up on some stuff that can maybe help with his meltdowns. just trying different things. I'm sorry, I'm sitting under the AC and I'm cold.
No, that's okay. That's okay. So the idea here, it's like, we want to come from like, you know how we just had this little talk about why you're a good mom and how far he's come and that you've been a part of that journey. And when I think about potty training, after I feel differently by just having this conversation, the actions you take are going to be so much more impactful to get it done.
Okay.
So you have to practice. This is the first thing for you and for anybody who's struggling with shitty thoughts all the time. First off, it's normal to have lots of shitty thoughts. I want to normalize that for you. The name of the game, though, is to challenge. The shitty thoughts the brain presents out of safety. If I keep you scared, you don't try crazy things that could get you like in danger. Like putting it, like getting rid of the pull-ups and just committing to giving him underwear, right? That's dangerous. He's going to piss his shit everywhere. It's going to be more work for you. You don't need more work, right? But like that's how the brain talks to us. So that's like, okay, you're right. I won't do anything. Right. Where we have to start to that, the first thing we have to do is have awareness around these shitty thoughts that we have and start to decide that we're not going to, these are not the thoughts that are going to get me what I want, which is a potty trained child. I want to think the thoughts that I already know I believe. That's how we work on thoughts. We can't do affirmations. I have to have her think about the things that she already believes about herself. That he's capable, that he's so capable, he's made so much progress, and I was a big fucking reason for that happening. And if I can do that, I can potty train. How does that thought feel? If I can do all the things I've done to get him to this point, I can potty train him.
I know I can. I know I can. I think it's just because I'm thinking so negatively about it.
But yes, but I want you to understand that's choice. That if you didn't know it now, if you didn't know it up until tonight, you know it now. That I could listen. We're the only species that I know of that can hear its own thoughts. Every time your brain presents you a thought, you can decide to keep it. Like, oh, that's empowering. I'm going to keep that. That works really well for me. I'm going to move fast and hard with that. Or that, oh, that's a shitty thought. I'm not signing up for that. Every time your brain presents that thought, you have a choice of whether or not you want to take it on or say, fuck that. I don't believe that about myself. And if you didn't know you had a choice, now you know, especially for somebody who may have been suffering from anxiety and depression. There's a lot of belief around the chemical imbalances that may cause it. I'm not saying that they're chemicals, that those imbalances don't exist, but what exasperates the situation is you believing every fucking thought that your brain presents, because most of them are going to be shitty.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does make sense. And now that I'm talking to somebody about it, it does make sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So this takes practice. Sometimes I'll feel like shit and I'll be like, I didn't even hear the thought. I just instantly feel bad. And I have to reverse engineer. Why do I feel bad? What happened? Oh, okay. It was somebody said something, or my brain said something. You see what I'm saying? It takes awareness first. You're not going to be able to start fixing this right away. You're just going to hear them. And then you're going to start saying, oh, wait a minute. That's a thought error. That's what I call it. When my brain says stupid shit to me, that's a thought error. This is not my fault. It's not helpful for me to even fucking think that, whether even if you could prove it's true, which it's not. Right? What do I want to think that's going to help me to feel better in this moment and to get potty training done?
Okay. It was helpful. I do have a question though.
Yes. Okay. And then we're going to get to how to fix the potty training you're doing because it's a little backwards. Yes, go ahead.
With multiple kids. Okay. I have a 11-month-old. Do you think it's best for me to do it when dad's home so that
we're going to get into that in a minute. So the first thing I want to say is that when you tried to potty train him the first time, you fucking just had a newborn or you were about to have a newborn. You were very pregnant. Worst fucking time to potty train. We want to potty train when life is neutral. That means no new change of job, no move, no new baby. You know, I remember feeling like a homicidal maniac when I had new babies because I wasn't getting any sleep. You cannot potty train in that state. You want things to be chill at home so you can focus on potty training, have a good mindset for potty training, right? It's so interesting. She looks at that time she did it and that it didn't work as a fail, but like it wasn't even a good time to do it. You want to look at your life and say, okay, is now a cool time to do this? Is nobody's moving, nobody's changing jobs, I'm not getting divorced, I'm not dealing with a new baby, all that stuff. That's number one. Number two, having the 11-month-old isn't an issue. And when you do, it isn't an issue. Well, the issue you're having is you're trying to get him to tell you before he's actually like made the connection that pee and poop go here. That's backwards. And I know you're doing that because you got the professionalitis, because you believe that the professionals know better about autism than I do. And that's not true. They may know about autism, but they don't know your baby better than you. You got the PhD in your son and they don't. Okay. So that has value more than any years of experience they've had teaching multiple children. And what she said was completely backwards. The thing we have to do with him first is we want to do an intensive with him. So you're going to get your toilet training data sheet. You're going to take that and you're going to look in his diaper every hour when he's wet, when he's dry, when he has a bowel movement. So you can get an idea of patterns. Then I would do an intensive. So when I'm doing the intensive, hey, dad, you're going to go run out with baby, hang out at your mom's, your uncles, your cousins, whatever. I'm going to focus here with our son, and I'm going to lock us both into a room attached to the bathroom. And I'm going to do lots of reps of going. That's how he's going to potty train. Not by, oh, I want him to feel he's wet, and a pull-up that's comfortable. A pull-up means it pulls moisture away from your ass. So it makes it comfortable to walk around with it wet. If I'm committing to potty training, we're getting rid of the pull-ups and we're focusing specifically on him either being naked from the waist down during that intensive or with his underwear on and nothing else. I want it to be uncomfortable if he has an accident. And accidents are okay, right? It's not potty perfection, it's potty training. So if you've got like nice rugs, roll them up, put them away. You get nice furniture, move it into another spot. The idea here is that for you and him to work on this intensive, 5 minutes on, 10 minutes off, and you're going to, one of two things is going to happen. Either while he's sitting, he's going to have a pee-pee or a poo-poo, and you're going to praise and give him that high value reward. Another super important thing that you're going to have to figure out for him. And then, or he's going to be in the room and he's always going to be in your peripheral because you're doing an intensive and you're going to start to see the pee come down the leg. And as soon as you see it, you're going to run him into the bathroom. And as long as some of the pee lands in the toilet, he gets the reward. And that's how it clicks. And that's how they make a connection, because you're going to keep doing it over the course of 2 or 3 days. If after your intensive, if after 2 or 3 days, he's not 80% or more, he goes back to school and pull-ups, but school's almost done. It's almost done for all of us if it's not already done. And then what you're going to do is as soon as he gets home, as soon as he gets up and as soon as he gets home, you're going to take, as soon as he gets up, you're going to take the pull-up off. You're going to put the underwear, you're going to take him to the bathroom, see if he's got to go. And the underwear goes on until about 20 minutes before school. And then you can put the pull-up on, and then he goes. When he gets home, the pull-up right off and the underwear goes on, and you're going to still do your reps, but now you have more data. He's getting practice. You have your intensive under your belt, or he might get potty trained in those 3 days and be done. We don't know yet.
Hopefully, I'm going to give it, because school's out Friday.
Oh,
After
perfect.
Friday,
let's go. Let's fucking go.
I'm going to give him till Friday, Saturday. I think I'm going to start Saturday. We'll do Saturday, Sunday, Monday, because it's Memorial Day. We don't really do anything.
Love it. Amazing. Let's fucking go.
So if I can,
high value reward. What's your high value reward? Your 10. He'll do anything for it. What is it?
Xbox.
So that's what you're gonna do tonight. You're planning to do it this weekend. Tonight, the Xbox disappears after bedtime. Tomorrow,
he doesn't. The Xbox is actually a reward for anything that he does right now, like because he doesn't get to play it, or the PS4. He doesn't get to really play it unless he does a chore, or
it's got to be specific only to potty training. So the desire is high.
Okay.
So that means it disappeared. We'll find he's going to be mad, but life will go on. I understand that was another thing that you have a problem with. This is the stuff we work on in my program. We have to understand the function of each of those tantrums to create a solve. If a child tantrums a lot, we'll all tend to blanket that all into like they tantrum a lot, but each tantrum has to be looked at individually to figure out the function to create the solve. But if we're going to use if we're going to use not the iPad, we're going to use the Xbox or the PS4 as the thing that he gets and he loves it. It's a 10 on a scale from 1 to 10. That means that it's gone tomorrow. And we're going to reintroduce it come Saturday morning when we're ready to potty train. Say, I don't know. You're going to say, where is it? You're going to say, I don't fucking know. I don't know where it went. Right. And he's going to be mad, or he'll move on to something else. And then Saturday morning, you're going to say, guess what, baby? I found your Xbox. If you go pee-pee on the potty, you're going to get 5 minutes or 10 minutes of Xbox time. You go poop, you're going to get 30. And let's go. Is that helpful?
Yes, very, very, very,
All right.
very.
I hope it was. I think you helped a lot of people just being so honest and open. So I appreciate that. Okay. Let me know how it goes.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right.
Do
Yeah.
I need to stay or?
No, you
Can I
can
go?
stay or you can go. It's all fine.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much, Michelle.
No problem. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All righty. We're going to do one more. Lida. Sorry, it went over tonight. I always try to do this and not go over, and it just happens. We're going to promote you to panelist, Lida. Let me do some questions while we're waiting for Lida. My daughter has similar signs before diagnosed. I hear you. A lot of our babies all seem the same. Do a couple more questions. Hi, how are you? Hi, hold on one second. I'm just doing I'm going to answer some questions. I also have a 6-year-old who hasn't been able to poop on the potty. He'll pee but not poop, and he's so scared to use the bathroom at school, so he wants to wear a pull-up. He's afraid of sitting on the potty. He also says it's too loud at school when he flushes. So this is the thing here. We have to get the child neutral to sitting first before we can potty train. Juliana didn't like the auto flushers either. If it's an auto flusher, I used to wait for her to leave the stall and then I would flush it. You can get Post-its to put over the sensor so it doesn't auto flush. You can if we know that he has an issue with the flusher at school, we can tell school, like, listen, do not flush it until he's out of the room. All right. I hope that helped Hope. All right, perfect. All right. Lida, welcome. How can I help you tonight?
Hi, how are you?
Was tonight helpful?
Yes, it's very helpful. Very, very helpful. I love your energy. I love how whatever you bring in the table, I love it.
Excellent.
Everything.
Awesome.
My son is 8 years old. I don't want to specifically say if he's nonverbal or not, but he does not talk. That's just what I'm saying. I am doing this potty chart. It's just insinuating wet, dry bowel movement and non-bowel movement. I just been having really issues with every time he goes or whatever, I do the sign for bathroom, and he's also doing it at school as well too. But I don't use the underwear. Like I only do I just take him and then I give him the pull up and he pulls it up. And then I show him how to wash his hands and he does it. But I don't try the underwear. I don't know. That transition is very hard for me.
Why?
There's no reason or as to why. I just feel, I don't know. I really can't say as to why I haven't yet.
Have you ever tried the underwear or no?
No, I have not. No.
Do you know if all right, well, if you've never tried the underwear, so we don't even know. You got to try and answer that question for yourself as to why that transition is hard. He's 8 years old.
Right.
Why would you buy underwear?
I really don't know. I just feel like he's comfortable in that pull-up.
All right. So what do you think is going to happen if you put him in underwear?
Well, he will have accidents and stuff like that as usual. I just my thought process is getting him to use, up and down with the pull-up, and also pull-ups are generally used to start potty training them.
That's a marketing myth.
Yeah, I know.
In studies that pull-ups have been invented, that more children are staying in diapers longer. And that's just not me saying it. It's a lateral move. So what we really got to get to here is why you're absolutely against the underwear.
No, I'm not against it. I just never tried put it on him. I'm just slowly but surely introducing him to that.
Okay.
Right.
All right. So the reason why you've never tried it on him is because you thought that the pull-up was like one step closer to it. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. Now he's 8 years old. Do you still feel that way?
Feel about me not giving him a pull-up?
The reason you said you weren't putting him in an underwear is because you thought a pull-up was taking you one step closer to that. right?
Yes, yes.
So now he's 8 years old and he's still wearing a pull-up. Do you still feel that way about pull-ups?
Well, here's the thing that I have to say, that I'm slowly introducing him to using the bathroom, because he's just starting to use, like, this year, actually. I never tried potty training him at all or anything like that, because just like the previous person that was on, she stated that he needed to talk. So I thought the same way, like, how am I going to potty train him if he doesn't talk? You know what I mean? I just started to learn a lot of, I just started to learn his ways and who he is. So I really didn't know.
What changed for you, because he's 8 now and he's still pre-verbal. So what's changed for you that you want to try now, even though you had this belief that he needed to talk?
Like she said before, I had severe anxiety. I didn't want to leave my house. I didn't know his condition. I'm Hispanic, so we didn't know anything about autism. And again, like I know you had previously said that, it's not a label. So I didn't know. So I had to finally work my way up to learning autism and learning his ways. And I'm also a behavioral tech now. So I'm learning him.
I think you emailed me. I think you said you'd become an RBT, or somebody said they became an RBT. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yes. So now I'm starting to learn, and slowly, and he got diagnosed at 2. So I didn't know anything about that.
All right. So let's talk about it. So he up until this point, you've been trying to potty train, but with the pull-up on. And have you had any success or no?
Yes. I have a lot of success with it.
Okay.
He's going every 30 minutes. On the sheet, I'll put either dry, wet. If he went, I'll put a U for urinal. I'm signing for bathroom, signing to go.
So he's going, like, would you say that if I take him every 30 minutes, I have a 100% success day?
Yes. At first at school, they weren't trying to do the transition, because they stated that he was being on the floor and they didn't have the equipment to pick it up or cleaning up or whatever case it was.
Okay. All right. So what is your problem then? It sounds like he's doing good.
My problem is like the pooping as well too. Like he does dig, like you had mentioned earlier. He is not pooping on the pool. I just don't know
So
how
you got
to do
pee. All right, so now that I understand. So now you got pee on lock. He's
Yes.
good with pee. Pooping is the problem.
And also on my behalf, consistency, because
That's fair.
consistency
That's fair.
is like a struggle for me, because I've learned that, in my thought process is he's autistic. I know him, but not everyone else knows him. So now I gotta get out of that mindset. You know what I mean?
But how is that thought stopping you from being consistent?
Because sometimes I do it, and then when I see his tantruming or anything like that, I kind of stop, because I don't want to upset him.
Okay.
So I gotta get out of that mindset as well too, as to okay, he knows that if he gets upset, I'm going to give in to what he wants.
Yeah, that's right. He's taught you that this is the way I communicate, and you respond. So you reinforce the behavior. Yeah.
Right.
Got it.
Right.
But your inconsistency is the reason why he's still in diapers.
Yes.
All right, got it. All right. So now, so you'll have a 100% success day for pee. Poop is where your issue is.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Does he stand to pee or does he sit to pee?
No, he sits.
He sits to pee. Got it.
Yes.
And when you ask him to sit for a poop, will he be willing to sit or no?
I'm not too sure about that. I don't know. That's
if
why
you
I
ask him to sit every 30 minutes, I'm assuming some of those times he doesn't eliminate, right?
Right. No, he doesn't.
Okay. How long do you make him sit until he?
Up to 2 minutes.
Up to 2 minutes. Got it. Okay. All right. So what do you think the problem is? Why do you think that you were able to get pee, but you can't get poop?
His poop is very like, he has a poor diet and his poop is very like, it's like clay, I could say, or like cement. I could describe it.
So he's got
So
constipated.
yes, and like I'm trying to get him to drink water, but he drinks juice, and he refuses the water, and it's kind of hard because it won't land. If it's that mushy, it won't land in the toilet.
Got it. Okay. So how does he poop now? Like, does he hide somewhere? Does he just do it and you see it in his pull-up? Like, how is he doing?
He just do it, but he's getting older. That the odor is like, it's like you can smell it and instantly.
I know. Where
that
does he do it? Like, does he do it at certain times? Does he do it in certain rooms? Where, like, how does it
Oh,
look?
I never thought of that. No, I don't know.
You have your toilet training data sheet though. Aren't you tracking his accidents too?
Yes, I am. But
So when you
since he
look
has
at the
the
toilet training, what'd you say? Oh, I know, but like, oh, but you're not checking it. Like the toilet training data sheet, you just using that when you have successful
like
visit?
urine. Yeah, I'm not
Oh,
tracking
got
the
it.
poop.
Okay. All right. Okay. Got it. All right. Okay. So, what's the reward for going right now?
I give him Doritos. Normally I'll give him half, but then if he goes, I give him a whole one.
You mean if he goes pee, he gets a whole one, or he goes poop?
Yes, he goes pee. He goes. He gets a whole one.
He gets a whole
And
like
then-
snack-sized Dorito bag.
Nah, just one whole one.
Just one
Like
Dorito.
normally, yes, yes,
Okay.
just one chip. Yeah.
On a scale from 1 to 10, how desirable are these Doritos?
A 10. He always eats it, so it's not.
Well, okay, it's a 10. But the reason why I don't believe it's a 10 is that he won't shit for it.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
So it's great to have for pee. He gets one chip for peeing, but for poop, he knows he could get the chips and he's not doing it.
Right.
Okay. All right. So here's the thing. So what do you think? So you thought the problem that this isn't happening is because he's constipated and he has clay-like poops. They come out like cement.
Yeah, I didn't even think that was a sign of constipation.
That he was doing that to himself, you mean?
No, like the clay, like the poop and stuff like that. Normally he'll dig.
I wouldn't even consider that. I don't consider whether it's constipation or not. It's not a problem, is what I'm saying. You feel it's the problem that this isn't happening. I'm just trying to reiterate like why you think the problem is. The problem here is that right now it's comfortable to shit my pants because we haven't chosen to make the commitment to go to underwear. That's number one.
Right. And that's the reason, because if he has a BM, I would have to throw the underwear away. And
well, I mean, it depends on what it is. If it's clay-like, right? That means it's not the smushy shit. So that means you could shake it into the toilet and throw it in the laundry.
Right.
Right. It's so interesting how the brain takes like, listen, if you fucking do that, you're gonna have to throw away a ton of underwear. Like that's a problem because
that's my thought process. Yeah,
but it's keeping him in diapers. Right? It's not a helpful thought because you're thinking that and you're thinking that's the end all be all, but listen, you're buying fucking pull-ups still. You see what I'm saying?
Actually, I don't buy the pull-ups, the Medicaid,
fair, but like that's not the desire you want for him. And I know
Right,
underwear
absolutely.
is an expense, but like the underwear is a life skill that can elevate him. And whether you pay for your diapers or not, it's inconsequential, is that this isn't where we want to stay anymore, whether I get them for free or not. Right. So the idea here is that we have to commit to the idea of wearing the underwear. And then your brain says, well, if you do that, he's going to shit in the underwear and then you got to throw the underwear away. Well, that's not true because you just told me his poops are kind of like hard. So those really don't leave too much of a stain. They can be washed. So you want to
they're
catch
not hard. They're not hard. They're like clay. Like
when you say clay, is it like the balls or is it like
like mushy to the point it's not gonna,
like diarrhea, like almost like diarrhea.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Oh, okay. You can't potty train until it's solid. Because the reason that this, first of all, it's not, there's a couple of reasons why it's not happening. I mean, he's still in pull-ups. It's optional to potty train. It's optional to do poop. The reward system you're using isn't enough of a like ask, like it's not enough, it's not worth it enough for him to do it. But on top of all of this, if he's having diarrhea, I thought you meant that was like the consistency of the rock, but if he's not even having rocks or peanut butter like consistency poops and it's loose, it's not fair to try and potty train him like that because he can't get to the bathroom fast enough. Does that make sense? Like you and me
How
have
would I
diarrhea.
get it? Like,
You've got to work on the diet. So the first thing I'd say to a parent, like first of all, you've been able to get the progress you got with P, so with still having poop like this is amazing. You should be very proud of yourself. He's totally capable of doing this, but I want to put all of the action. I want to put all of the capability for him. I want to give him the opportunity to win here. And if I'm trying to potty train him when he has diarrhea, you know what it's like to have diarrhea, because we're so practiced in using the bathroom, we can feel like, oh boy, here it comes. I got to run to the bathroom. He doesn't have that practice yet. He's just learning. So it's not fair to try and potty train him when he's got loose stool. It may not feel comfortable either. You know, sometimes when you have diarrhea, it burns to come out. That's not fun either. So if he's having those types of poops, we have to solve for that first. You said his diet's not so great, right? Or how's his diet?
it's poor. He eats all junk.
Yeah, and that's a problem. So picky eating goes hand in hand with autism. But like we want to think about too our thoughts around like how it got to that point. And one of the things you said is that he tantrums a lot. And so I'm not consistent because I don't want to see him tantrum. But it's created the reality of the life you're living now with him. Because now that tantruming goes over to the types of foods I'm giving him because he doesn't want to eat certain things. And then I don't want to push him to do certain things because of the tantruming. It's created a very small world that you're all living in now. So what would happen here, and I know this is like a blow because I know you want to get this done. You're almost there. You got the pee, you don't have the poop, is that we can't expect him to potty train when he can't get to the bathroom fast enough to eliminate. We got to get his poop solid. So it's like, all right, so then how do I do that, Michelle? Well, we got to work on his diet. Well, how do I do that? He's eating shitty foods and that's all he eats. I want to start one by one and looking at what he's eating and start to do a picky eater protocol, which I have in my program, where we want to start introducing him to foods that'll help tighten his stool. And we would do I usually call it like a bite for bite protocol. So basically what we would do is, let's say rice is something that would be helpful for him. Does he eat rice or no? So like, does he eat French fries?
No. Well, yeah, somewhat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Somewhat.
He'll eat French fries. Got it. So the idea here is to pick something of high desire, like those Doritos, and then you start doing a bite for bite. It's hard. It's going to be a lot for me to go into tonight, but it's the same concept as potty training, meaning that if I can give them if I can come up with a high desire, he'd be wanting to go sit on the potty to eliminate. But the same thing goes with trying a new food. I've got to create high desire for him to want to try it. So I'd have to use something like Doritos, something like the junk food he likes to eat, and do a bite for bite. Meaning like first you just put the rice in front of him. He's got to be neutral about it, right? That's the same as like, oh, he's got to sit on the potty neutrally. He's got to be in the presence of the rice neutrally. Then I want him to just touch it. Then I want to start with a pea-sized amount. He takes a pea-sized amount of rice and puts it in his mouth. He gets a chip. You see how I'm starting to build that out? And I keep doing that. Yeah, and that what you're going to do is you're going to build it. It's going to go from a pea-sized amount to a spoonful to a quarter cup to a half a cup till he's eating a serving of rice. And now you can give him rice and he'll eat it.
Oh,
yes.
I was just doing like introducing food, like even if he doesn't eat it, it's available for him.
That's
but I didn't know that.
But like, but if he never takes that next step, you just stay where you are.
Right, absolutely.
So if you have a child with loose stool, we have to fix for that first. So I'd start working on showing him and introducing and getting him to eat foods that will bind him up. I also want to look at, a lot of the times there's gut issues. Even if a child eats a lot of junk, that he's having diarrhea and he eats a lot of junk, something might be, gut-wise out of balance for him. So there could be supplements, but honestly, like if the diet is that poor, I'd like to start introducing some foods that bind you up first to see if that would create the solve before I'd start getting into supplements and stool testing and all that crap. Because you're honest, you said his diet's junk. So let's fix the diet. Get the stool solid. You can still do your reps with peeing, right? You can still do your reps. And then once you can get the poop solid, that's when you can potty train. Does that
Okay,
make sense?
thank you. Yes,
Is that helpful?
absolutely.
All right, great. And
Yes,
if
it was.
anything you walk away with tonight, I want you to start thinking differently about autism, the autism condition. This is a big one, right? That he has the condition of autism. When I think that, how does that make me feel? If it feels like shit, then stop saying that to yourself. You got to start thinking differently. He's totally capable of potty training, totally capable of trying new foods, getting good foods in his system, and then getting his stools right and potty training. Look how far he's come already. Was that helpful? Look, oh, looks like we lost her. All right, well, we're gonna disconnect for tonight for Lita, because I think she's back as an attendee. Okay, perfect. All right, so we're gonna wrap for tonight. It went a little bit over. I hope this was helpful for everybody. You have until midnight tonight. If you love what you saw, you have until midnight tonight to join my program. You'll get the bonuses. You will get 1 private session with me. You will get $500 off the program, and you'll get 5 months instead of 3. I hope you take me up on it. I hope you